I guess I'm here. 1 second here. I'm all glitchy. Let me unglitch myself. Is that better? Yes, it is. Okay. How's everybody doing tonight? Andrew, be safe out there, buddy. Edna, I knew I should have said something in my email. No, you're playing. Nightmare. How you doing? Latro, thank you very much. That was really nice of you. Thanks. Edna's everywhere. And Roger, how you doing, sir? I hope you're having a wonderful night. I saw Jules in there. Hey, Jules. So I hope everybody's having a good week so far. We're almost over hump day into the new day. Yeah, I should have told you in the email that I was streaming tonight, but I figured you would see it. Just don't trust your notifications because I never get my own. Yeah, I hope everybody's good. I hope it lasts tonight. I had some issues earlier, kind of warning signs of that tomorrow might be a rough day or later tonight. So bear with me. I am good, though. No, you're fine. You're allowed. Hey, man, it didn't need to go that way. So you're all good. And I'm glad you were there that night. I'm glad all you guys were there that night. Yeah, I wasn't too happy either. I was a little disappointed in her. And I'm sure she's watching, probably underneath another name. Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Hey, you can only do so much. I've let it go and moved on. So, all I can do is say I tried to help. There's not much I can do. Sometimes words only do so much. You got to act. And I know she's been trying. And she misunderstood us. She just wanted somebody to point the finger at, take her anger out on. This is how I honestly feel. No, there wasn't. No, yeah, and I totally agree, Ed. I totally agree. But it's done and past. Time for a new step. Hope she sees that too. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if she is watching underneath another name. But I hope she's safe and okay. And that's all I can say. And I knew you were upset. A lot of people were not happy about the whole thing. It left me sad that night to see that. But but I hope everybody is having a good week so far. I hope everybody enjoyed the stream yesterday. That lady was Tuesday, I should say, since we're Thursday now. But yeah, Joe was a sweet lady. We are going to have her back. Oh, you caught Cisco's live? Steve was on with the new baby. Cool. Good. I'm glad he's cutie. Most babies are. Hey, Mr. Finch, how are you? Good evening to everyone. And good evening to you. And I hope you are having a good week so far. All I say, I know what people are older than me. And some people are a lot older than you think. So, yeah. I'm doing good. Good. I'm glad you're doing good. That comment she made was a dig, and I didn't like it. Oh, I didn't like it either. And she kind of aimed it at Gemma, which really upset me. Gemma wasn't here. But, what do you say? I guess you're good. You're good, Nightmare. All good. Yeah, I was disappointed. You getting bad weather and another storm coming. Oh, wait till that hurricane really gets up close. We didn't, it's been cloudy. It's rained all around us. I'd say yesterday we probably, well, Tuesday, we might have gotten a quarter of an inch of rain, but everybody around us got dumped on. I agree. Good, good, good. Now, we're supposed to get it this weekend. I mean, we're in a serious drought, and I barely touched it. Though I know some of the places in southeast Ohio got some good rain. Anyone in Florida? Yeah, it's going to get rough. So, yeah, if you're in Florida, I have family in cold Clearwater. Well, ex-family. So, I hope they're safe. My little brother's, bless his soul, ex-family is down there and his kids. Rain, fog. Oh, I bet you. Yeah, and it's going to get crazy with that hurricane coming up because it's kind of coming in and then it'll swing. So I'm really hoping we won't get anything major, but we really need the rain, especially here in Central Ohio. Yeah, I bet it has, Roger. Houses are going cheap in Florida. I'll tell you right now, I worry about people in Florida because it's going to be a big one. Hey, Chris, how you doing, sir? I hope you are well and enjoying the night. I finally watched Penguin. I can't wait for the next one. It was awesome. Yeah, and it's going to change. It's already changing now, if I believe, right? Up there by the Apple is very, very low lying coast. Yes, yes, there is. Oh yeah. You got cousins down in Florida? Well, do you know where at, Roger? I mean, that whole state's going to get slammed. All of Florida is going to get slammed. I mean, we know the main part of it's going to hit that. I call it the armpit of Florida, but armpit America. But yeah, it's going to hit there. But that whole east side, because the way that thing is moving, and they're already starting to get stuff now. So it's going to be a lot of rain, a lot of wind. And once that baby gets closer, that water surge is going to be insane because I expect it to be at least a low 4. Yeah, they keep changing them. Oh, yeah, they've changed it. Actually, they've changed it all the way around the whole coast and all the way up to South Carolina, I believe, up to Myrtle Beach. So, yeah. I think I spelled that right. You did. You did pretty good. You did better than I did. Would have Latra. Yes, I totally agree. It's like Sopranos and Gotham. I totally agree. I loved it. It was really good. I was really impressed. I still love the tone because the Batman to me was that Batman movie I'd been waiting for all my life. Could have been a little bit more gritty or a little bit more tense, but I totally enjoyed it. One lot lives in St. Augustine and the other in Hardy County. Oh, okay. Okay. Most of it flooded out already. Another storm would be devastating. Well, what I think is supposed to happen is the main part of the hurricane will come up once it hits Florida and go straight up and then kind of arch inward toward the center of the country and then come back and disperse as it comes back. But all that remnants from that east end of the hurricane will roll up the coast. I expect all the way up that coast for at least 3 or 4 days. It's going to be good, solid rain. Yes, I am too glad that you're doing good. At least you're getting your shows. I'm catching up. I'm slowly catching up. Yeah. But yeah, I know it's going to be a big one. So I think it may be a lot more to it than people may expect. Let's just hope that some of that dry air sneaks back in again, slows it down, kind of kills it a little, tames it a little bit. But no matter what hits there, it's going to be a hard one. But yeah, the Joe, the lady from the Stream Tuesday, I believe Gemma said that she invited me, her, and Ryan onto her show. So you might see us over there one time. Yeah, I kind of wish that show would have gone a little longer. That's the only thing about Tuesday show. She's only got that hour. Unless I can get her to start, a little early that day for a good interview. Instead of starting at 1, start at noon and go to noon to 2. You want to see a good spy drama movie? Just saw Atomic Blonde. Great soundtrack. Ooh, I'll have to check that out. Scenery in Germany and the era. E-War, EW wall removal. Ooh, I'll have to check that out. On Freebie. I'll have to see if I can find that. Yeah, it was. I wish it had gone a little longer. I think everybody did. I think she felt bad she had to go. Ryan was even starting to get into it. I'm going to show a picture of something next Tuesday. Get everybody's attention. So, yeah, that's the thing. We get into it and then we have to stop, and it sucks. I saw Deadpool and Wolverine movie going to be digital on October 1st, and I think on Blue. Yeah, it probably will soon because they're making money off it. Keep the money rolling. The Killer's Game was blah. Really? I heard kind of mixed opinions about it. I really don't go by reviews unless they're either really negative or really good. Then I have to go and kind of. But I try to stay certain movies that I want to see. I try to stay away as much as I can. That way, when I do decide to see it, it's worth it. It's like suck. I never got to see Godzilla Kong New Empire until it came out on DVD because we never got a chance to go see it at the theater. But I'm so glad I saw Godzilla -1 in the theater, both for the black and white color and the black and white. Yeah, I son had it, and I went upstairs and watched like the first 20 minutes of it, and it was like I was like, nope, I'm not doing this, and I'm going back downstairs. This sucks. I'm sorry. Some things should not be touched. Movies kind of started letting me down and lost interest, I guess. There's still, I'm not. They have me too, and I'm still I'll always watch the classics, but I have to be really into the subject matter or the subject of the movie for me to really get going. Jared Leto just sucks, period. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. I'm not a big fan of him. I mean, if they'd have picked somebody else and done a better script for Morbius, that movie would have been something good and had so much. Hey, Infinite, what you up to? What's up, man? What's up? My TV is my clothing cabinet draped over top. I haven't used it in 5 years. Hey, some people don't. Some people don't. Latra. I'm pretty much on here most of the time. When I am in my room and sitting down, if I'm not running headless with the head cut off all over the place trying to get stuff done. The blood and gore ain't scary. It's just filling time to me. There's some good ones out there, Edna, that you would probably kind of be on the edge to see. I'll have to give you a list someday, and you could check them out. I watch everything on my computer. I pretty much now do. Like I said, I have 2 screens. I have this screen, which is a big screen, and then my other screen. This has got my computer on it and all my, and then that one over here, the one over here has my computer hooked to it too. And then it also has cable. I mean, I don't mean cable, but an antenna on it, and my PlayStation's hooked up to that. And I do a lot of stuff on this. And then I use that as something like if I'm working, I will have an extra string going of somebody streaming or something. while I do my stuff. The Watchers was great. When I'm stuck inside or in bed, I'm on your iPad. Yeah, I'm glad you got my email. I guess like I said, I should have told you I was streaming. But you should have known anyways. After last week, the last couple months. It's been a weird time. I think everybody's in a funk. I think everybody's anticipating what's next in the political on this earth. It's getting crazy. I don't want to get political, but man, it is getting crazy. But yeah, I'm going to start stories here pretty soon. Looks like we have a pretty good crowd. Hello, everybody. And the folks who are not talking, thank you for ghosting. I appreciate it. Got a couple of good encounters I want to talk about tonight. Waiting for Captain America in December. Yeah, I'm kind of, they've said they've done some changes. And is that right, Chris? That the screenings weren't that great? I don't know. This is what I heard. But that's another one I'm trying not to get, too much information on because I don't want to. Not me. My number came in the lottery. 221 has always been my lucky number. There you go. It came in on the lottery. So did you win? Would you win $2? You wouldn't be here. Three's always been followed. 3 has always followed me too. Really? Mine's 5. For some reason, the number 5 always follows me everywhere. 5 and 24. So you tell me. $652? Hey, all right. My dad right before we had the fire, Dad won $700 on a. I think it was a. What was it? Oh, rolling cash. Yeah, a $1 bet. That's good. Yeah, he placed $1. He only played $1 on the rolling cash, and he won $700. He didn't believe me when I came home. I was like, "Hey, dude, you won $700." There's no way. Yeah, here you go. Gave him the cash. He was like, "We actually won." And then now he says we don't win. I'm like, dude, you've already used up your luck. We'll just have to wait till luck decides to come back. I don't believe in luck. You get it when you need it. Wish she put a 5 on it. Hey, it's like my ex's father. He raced horses. He raised a horse to race, and they would run down here at Derby. And so we went one Sunday because he wanted us to come watch it race. I made sure I took a little cash with me to do some betting. There was a couple races I wish I'd put a little money down because I was actually winning. And then I bet like $2 for his horse to at least place, and it came in first. And I was like, oh, man, I knew I should have played 10 on it, What do you do? Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I know he put money on it, and he made some cash. So, but that's the thing. You make too much money. The IRS guy standing there by the ticket to pick up money, waiting for their share. We had just dropped off gifts to Miss Becky. She lost both her parents. Aww. Told my husband to see do a blessing, receive a blessing. Yes. Yep. Amen to that. Oh yeah, the tax. Yeah, I don't know what it is there, and here I think you have to win at least $700, so, or over $700 or $800. I don't know, but he did pay a little tax on it, but it was only like $50 or something when he did taxes. So I'm really not sure how that goes. But then again, the ex does his taxes, and she always does a good job for him. But this year, he actually owed money. She was like, I did it 3 times. And I go, nah, it's the government. IRS getting their share. But yeah, that tax guy, he waits for you. I'm telling you, do good and Oh, I always say what goes around comes around. When you do good, it will come around. When you do bad, it's going to come around. And hanging out in the middle of that come around won't do you any good because you're going to be bored. Yeah, I totally believe that. I totally believe that. So, anybody else got anything exciting going on before I start rambling? Which I'm doing now, but like I said, I really hope I'm doing pretty good and feeling pretty good. So let's keep our fingers crossed that I make it at least till 2. For the hell this year has brought, yes, and I agree with that too. And I know you have. I mean, it has been, the last 2 years have been real interesting. Actually, the last 2.5 years. So I'm surprised Dad is still kicking butt. At least he gets a little down. I don't blame him. I mean, he's watching a lot of stuff go on him. But yeah, I'm kind of trying to talk him into going to Para-Unity with me. I would love to take Pops. He needs to get out of here for a while. So I'm trying to convince him to go with me. Let him run around and ask people questions. Then I have to yell at him because he won't go get a hearing. That's all right. Anybody excited for anything coming up? Yeah, we'll let you know if we do Joe's show. We'll make sure me and Gemma will make sure we post it so everybody sees it. And we do plan on having her back. I think Gemma's got a bunch of stuff she wants. Now, I believe next Tuesday will just be us 3, and she's got some stuff she wants to talk about. I got a couple of a thing I want to show, so it'll be good. But and that's the thing. You survive, and you hope get stronger from it. You couldn't read her. Yeah, she was interesting. I kind of felt at times she was checking me out and trying to get a read on me. You know how I am, Gemma. I mean, it's Edna. And Gemma felt it too. She goes, I think she was kind of trying to check us out. And I said, yeah, she was. Oh, you might go to the Ghost Brothers event in Georgia on Halloween. That would be awesome, dude. I hope you go, Chris. They're nice guys too. They're going to be there at Para-Unity. They are nice guys. They took a shine to Gemma, but who doesn't? I was blocking. Yeah, so it was because there was a couple times that especially when I spoke, it was like she was trying to really fill me out. I don't think she could pick up on Ryan either. But Ryan is so chilled. Oh man, that sounds awesome. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? You'll have a good time. If you meet them, dude, you'll be surprised. They are so cool. And they're hilarious. Man, they are funny as crap. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. But I liked her on the show. She's definitely interesting. So yeah, he kind of doing me. He was kind of copying me Tuesday. And thing is, he had questions, and I think he had a lot more. But he was, he knew time was short, and he didn't want to get Gemma running over because she doesn't have much time. When she gets up and cleans up, she's got to get ready to get him off the bus. Yes, she was very interesting, and I would have liked to talk to her a little bit longer. I think next time she does an interview, I'm going to tell her, instead of coming on at 1, come on at noon and go noon to 2. And then if it gets boring or their guest is not that great, you can stop a little early. No skin. And then that way you get in early, And if not, and it's going good, you got 2 hours to work with and you can have a good conversation. Is that in October? Okay. Yeah, I heard I didn't know what it was at, but I knew there was one coming. I just didn't know when. I thought it was November. But yeah, so I'll have to. That's all. I think I seen that one on Facebook. I just didn't get it all. Yeah, I wouldn't mind going to that, but right now I'm just concentrating because it's a drive. And if he goes with me, it's going to be, well, at least I won't go by myself and it won't be such a quiet drive there, but at least he'll have a good time. I want him to go and have fun, get out of here for a while. It's been a while since he's been away from Ohio. Plus, once Gemma sees him, she'll love all over him, and I won't have to worry about him for a while. Wonder how far Greenville is from here. I'll have to check it out. I'll have to look. You can map quest it. 11th and the 12th of October. Really? That's. I have to look. I know it's a weekend. I'm just trying to gather a week. So, about 3 weeks away? No, 2 weeks away. Almost 2 weeks away. It's a Friday and a Saturday, Chris? They don't do a Sunday? Hour and a half from you? Yeah, that probably isn't that far from you. It might be, about an hour and a half drive from me, give or take, depending on which way I go and how bad traffic is. So they're having it on a Friday and a Saturday. They don't do Sundays, I take it? Because that's a Friday and a Saturday from what it looked like. Yeah, it's a Friday and a Saturday. I'm basically in central Columbus. I'm just north. I'm literally in Worthington. I am, if you look on the map and go straight through campus on 23, I'm like, it goes downtown Columbus, Clintonville, and then Worthington. Well, Worthington's actually considered part of Clintonville. But yeah, I'm just north of Columbus. I'm 20 minutes away from, not even that, depending on the drive, day, from downtown from campus, from OSU. So it takes me usually, when I go down to see John down, and we usually meet in Harrison, it takes me about almost 2 hours because I leave early enough and I leave right after rush hour. So it's usually pretty much a good cruise. Sometimes I take back ways. Yeah, about an hour and a half from you. Yeah. Oh, did you go look at a map, Chris? That sounds about right. I said about an hour and a half, give or take traffic. Because I've also cruised when I was living down there. And when we first moved to Cincinnati down to Clarain, on the weekends, he would give me like a couple of days off during the week and then every other weekend off until we moved down there. Come up and see the family, and I'd cruise. A lot of times I did night drive. A lot of times I left at night, so I didn't because it's a straight up shot. I'd either take 75 and go up 75 and swing over to 70. Sometimes that was the quickest way. But then again, we were also living on the west side at the time. No, up north in Sunbury. So yeah. Up near Quah. Dang, it's 8 hours away. Yeah. Actually, that's about what it drives for me to drive to Jersey, to her mom's, to where her mom lived. It was about 8 hours. Actually, it was just about 8 hours either way. And it took me about 9 because I had to stop and stretch and eat and stuff. But I made great time. But also that you got the stupid turnpike, which does make it faster, but they suck you out of your money. But yeah, you could be here in 8 hours easy. I love driving too. It's just now with this, I get a good cruise going, and I was really surprised. Usually I did better going home than I did getting there. And I don't know why, because I always tried to rush to get there so I'd have more time. It never failed. I always rolled in. I think all the times I showed up there, I seemed to roll. I left here probably about 8 or 9, and I would roll in there about 7:30. almost 7:45. And that's with maybe 2 stops on the way. There was one time I made 3 stops and still got there about that time. Yeah, about 9 hours from Gemma. Yeah, you're just a little farther, not much. When I'm driving, works great. Expensive. Yeah, they are. They're expensive. Yes, they are. That stuff is expensive. I took just one of those padded car seat, chair seats that you get, the little pillow ones. That's what Dad sits on, like you'd see on furniture. I tried to tell him I'd get him a nice one. No, I'm not worried about it. What time we got? Oh, we're just gabbing, so I'm just gonna keep gabbing. Who's all still here, folks? Roll call. Yeah, I'm gonna. Oops. I'm gonna do something real quick. So down to 7. That's all right. I'm gonna start talking here in a minute. Really talking. Yeah, Latro. Again, thank you, sir, very much. That was really nice of you, man. It was. Thanks for the tip. Yes, it has a hole of your tailbone. You should get one, Ghost. I may think about that. The hole. That's bad. Road trips are great. I love a good road trip. I'd rather drive than fly. If I can drive there and make decent time, I'd rather drive. I'm so glad we drove to Colorado all the time. We went up to Colorado. It was more fun. I'm here, but getting sleepy. Sounds good, Roger. I tend to do that with my voice, even though it sounds so rough sometimes. So if you go to sleep on us, Roger, you have a wonderful night. Have a good day tomorrow. But if you don't, enjoy it, because I'm going to start talking here. Yeah, look, road trips are great. I do. I love road trips. In fact, one of the stories I'm going to tell tonight, one of the encounters I'm going to tell tonight, is about a road trip that we did one night. Is in a truck. And then just now seeing you, bud. I could drive 4 hours in any direction and never be out of Texas. Yeah, I hate that. And Andrew was on. He's overnight riding. He might be listening, but he's doing overnight runs, so he's probably on the road. The best place you can see a concert is right. Yeah, and it's a neat place. Yeah, I've been there. It's nice. It is really nice. I haven't seen a concert there, but we went and checked it out. It is beautiful. There was nobody good while we were there. And it's kind of a drive from where we were at, but we did a little bit of sightseeing. And when we left, we got lost in Denver. It was funny. Yeah, I'm sure Andrew's driving. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I want to see the Rockies and I want to see the Grand Canyon. I've been to the Rockies. I love the Rockies. I didn't want to leave Colorado. Estes Park was perfect for me. And I loved it there. I mean, I was even offered a job while we were there the second time we were there. I wish I'd have took it. What was the stat? The distance between El Paso and Texas is greater than Texarkana. You could delete. It is a really beautiful, Ghost. It is very beautiful. I mean, we got to see the Longhorns down in the valley beat the crap out of each other. That was kind of cool. I've had a bear when we were staying at the cabin, because when we went out on our honeymoon, we actually stayed. Her grandparents, he was a bigwig there. In fact, that's who my son is named after, is her grandfather, Giles, and Giles Gear. They're actually related to the Gear family, in movies. But he was a colonel. And when they had the Great Flood there, he helped rebuild the water plant, designed everything, and did all kinds of stuff for them. So we stayed at the Stanley Hotel the night on our when the first night we got there on our honeymoon. We stayed at the Stanley for 2 nights. The room we stayed in was 312, the one from the book. I always get them screwed up, but yeah. She didn't like it because we kept hearing stuff all night, and she started freaking out, and I was laughing because you could definitely hear somebody was in the bathroom, but every time we went in there was nobody in the bathroom. We could hear conversations, and this is like mid-February. They're not very busy, and so that night she made us change rooms. Did you know bacon is plant-based? Yeah, because the pigs eat the plants. But yeah, but anyways, we stayed. And then while we were there, we stayed. Then after those 2 nights there, we went to their place, stayed at their place because they literally live right on the side of a mountain, and we'd stand outside and hold cans of seed and shake it, and these big old bucks and deers would come down and eat out of the cans. Which kind of made me uncomfortable because I know it's not always a good thing to do, but they were pretty cool. They definitely knew her grandmother. And the hummingbirds. I mean, you could stand there. She had hummingbird feeders everywhere. They'd be all around you, flying around your head. Bacon keeps me from being a vegetarian. Processed foods scare me anymore. They scare me too because who knows what they're putting in it now. Bacon is not harmful as long as you ain't combining fat with sugar, which makes sense. But anyways, we staying and then the next night they got us a cabin at the Y, and the YMC is literally set inside the mountains, on the side of the Rockies. So all the cabins were nicely spread out, and we're sitting out there one night drinking. I was drinking, I think, a beer. Her grandparents liked to drink wine and 7-Up, so she was drinking that. And at the cabin, they sent her back with a 2-liter of 7-Up and a bottle of wine. So I was drinking a beer, and we're sitting on the porch. I just had a cigarette, and she goes, I wasn't really paying attention. She goes, Steve, don't move. And I go, why? And I look up, and there's a bear lifting our trash can lit up right in front of us. I mean, if I'd stood up and leaned forward, I could have touched his belly. Puts the trash can lid back down, looked at us. It almost looked like he shrugged his shoulders and went to the next cabin. I'm like, holy crap. And he was big. He was huge, big old black bear. Don't eat salmon with white stripes in the meat. It should be sold solid salmon. Yes. And I'm telling you what, I've seen some stuff in the stores and in the internet, but some of the stuff I've seen in the store, I wouldn't touch. Yeah, they're farm raised. Yeah, that's what my dad said too. Yeah, they're raising their own filth. Yeah, that's what Dad said too. He goes, I want to buy the good stuff. You don't buy that cheap crap. And when he says that, he means farm raised. But I'll tell you, we were at the Bear, I think it's called Bear Lake, and it literally looks like a bear paw in the middle of the mountains. And it's like real deep in the middle, but kind of shallow in the end with creeks that went through it. And you walk over a bridge and you could literally reach down and grab the salmon. I kept looking at my ex Tina going, there's dinner. Why can't I have this for dinner? It was probably the freshest salmon you could probably ever have. I meant trout and salmon you'd ever have. Meat-based diet changes the thought process. Only eat about one. See, I go through phases with meat. Sometimes I go a couple days and eat meat, and then I don't want it for a while. It's like we had chicken tonight, and I just could. I had to force myself to at least eat half of it. See, now I've backed away from shrimp and stuff like that for a reason. I mean, I have it every so often, But yeah, I've kind of backed away from shellfish. Now, if Edna ever makes my crab cakes, I'll eat those. But yeah, I'm watching because some of the stuff I see in the restaurants too look kind of. Though I do like tempura shrimp, and we go to a Japanese place where it's perfect every time. Luckily, we still yes, yes. There's a couple places that we've been looking into that you can mail order and you come straight from the farmer, which is nice. The farmer ends the butcher and everything. We're thinking about going that route because I want to go back and get a freezer. Don't eat the pale white skin chicken. Yeah, I'm really picky about chicken, so I am really careful about what I buy. See, it sucks because my uncle Walter, he had Angus's down in New Lex, Ohio, and man, you're talking about coming home with fresh beef and hamburger. I mean, they cook and not leave grease, and steaks will always. Yeah, now we had a freezer before the fire, but it got damaged in the fire, and we never replaced it. And now we're kind of thinking, no, we better go get another one because I had bought a meat pack right before the fire, and in the freezer I lost a big stack of bone-in pork chops that were beautiful. Um, 6 ribeyes, real nice ribeyes from a butcher. I had ordered a shot. We had ordered, from a butcher, and it was almost and about 2 pounds of hamburger, and they threw it all away. But the freezer was right beside the fire, and it was trashed. Yeah, the best way I found good quality meat, believe it or not, and it always looks good and it always looks fresh, and I haven't been disappointed yet, has been Myers. Kroger, man, they've kind of gone downhill. So I've gotten really picky when I go in there. And they shut down the boats ahead plant that was supposed to high end meat and cheese. Boarheads, they spell check. Yeah, Boarheads actually, um, I actually like their stuff, but they have some of the best. But when I go, because I can get that at Kroger's and Myers, but Kroger always seems to be out of it, and it sells real fast, and they've been limited for some reason on what they can get. So is that why they closed down the plant? I knew that some of the places had gone down and it affected delivery. I know there was some health issues too. Yeah, I like that. I do like the boar's head. It's a little more expensive, but it's always really good. That's like hot dogs. I only buy ballpark or 9 people were unalived. Is that what happened at the plant, or was it food poisoning? See, I knew something had happened. I just didn't know what. That's why I saw a video of them in Kraft Macaroni Cheese Factory. Dude, folks, if you saw how that stuff was made, you probably wouldn't eat it. And it was gross because it was obvious that a health inspector hadn't been in that place for at least 2 years. It was kind of disgusting. It made me stop buying mac and cheese for a while. Painted the plants were filthy. Oh, really? I knew something happened because it was really weird. Because every time I've gone in there, they've only had certain things. And like when I went in last time, I ended up buying private selection because they didn't have only like some turkey and some ham. Hey, Ron, how you doing? Happy midnight. Yes, happy night to you too. Oh, so they're done now. So I probably won't be able to see them anymore. Wow. I knew what you were saying. And hi, Karen. How you? Yeah, it still came out boats. Give up, Edna. Kyran, how you? Just me tonight, just so you know. Yeah, let me get into this first one because it's a good one. In 77, I was pretty much just got my, I was driving, had, access to cars and stuff. And one night after work, we closed early because we had a power outage. So me and the cook decided, man, we weren't ready to go home. So me and him piled in my car and we went for a drive. And we like to cruise. North of me is Delaware. And then you got nothing but open spaces to either go to Mansfield and up a little farther. It's pretty much just farm and small towns. So we go and then drive on those back roads. And this was probably about 11 o'clock at night. Now, to understand what we were at, we were in the middle of a country, out in the country in Delaware. So we were out on the northeast side of Delaware and up around Sunbury. And we were just driving back roads, just living up, having fun, talking. Every so often we stop and get out and mess around and just get back in the car and drive around. So we're cruising around and there's a small housing development where we were at. It was always really weird because it was like out in the middle of nowhere. And the only thing that was close to it, it was like they started to develop there and they stopped. So only like a few of the houses had people living in them. And then some of the house, well, actually one house wasn't even finished. And then there were two finished houses, but they didn't look like, it looked like some of the insides were still missing. But we didn't go in those. And we would drive around and it looked so weird because the only thing that was close to them was like a farmer market type, where farmers get feed and stuff down the road from them. And from what we could tell, because it was late night, so they were closed, they had vending machine, a couple of vending machines that looked like they sold some goods from what the sign said. So we're driving on, so we decided to go back to this little development. It was really weird. And we drove around. This lady come out and was watching this, and we finally stopped and told her we were just checking the place out. And she was telling us that it was started to be a development, but the people that were doing it ran out of money. And she was really nice and said the other houses were up for sale, but nobody ever buys them. And she didn't talk a whole lot, but she was really nice. And, when you're driving around, and I think she said there was a total of 4 families living there. And I knew 2 of the houses, she told us, and you could tell 2 of the houses were finished, but it didn't look like all the insides were done. And then it was a half-finished house at the end. And they were spread out pretty good, like a beginning of a neighborhood, like a beginning of a street. And they got the house real cheap, so they bought it. She talked to us. Her husband came out and said hi, and she says, just don't scare anybody. So we kind of cruised around, went down and checked out the house, the half-finished house. And we're out there and we're checking out this place. And the people that lived 2 houses, there was an empty house on each side of the half-finished house. And then there was houses, like 4 houses. And then a couple houses around the corner. It's hard to explain. It looked like it was starting to develop a street because there was also streets with nothing on it, like 4 of them. And have you heard about melonheads? No. Oh, yes, I have. Actually, I have an encounter of that too. Not me personally, but somebody who talked about the melonheads. Anyways, we're standing around this guy. I think he was from the house over. And he came over and goes, what are you guys doing over there? He's any better? Because there's nothing to steal, so what are you doing? Don't be trashing anything. And we came out and said, no, we were just checking it out. And most of the people we did run into seem really nice. When we get to talking to him, and he says that it gets real quiet there at night. That he says usually around like midnight, and this is still early. I'd say that by this time it was 10 or 11 o'clock, about 11 o'clock, because we were now on the road that long before we bumbled into this place. And he says it gets real quiet. He says you can't even hear the neighbors. He says that's the only thing that creeps him out about the place is it gets super, super quiet. But there's like nothing around. So I can imagine that. And we talked to him for a little bit, just, about weather and what was going on. And he goes inside and we go back to just checking out the Hatfield house. And you go into these houses, there's a driveway, it goes kind of up a hill. Then the garage is attached to the house. And on this house, the garage was finished. The front of the house, it had walls. Half the roof was roofed, but the other half was just plywood that had plastic tacked to it, and it was starting to rip and be weathered. And the door was unlocked. So we go in, and it's like got no walls. You can see the beams and everything. And it was really weird because we started hanging out for a while, and we were just kind of hanging out, actually, living it up there a little bit, and just sitting in there because it was like shelter, and we were just sitting there chilling. And the guy I was with kept going, listen. And I'm like, what? And by this time, it's probably about 12:30, 12:45. He goes, listen. And I go, what? It's quiet. So what? And he goes, no, listen. And I shut my mouth, and it sounded like something was running across the roof. So he gets up, and in the house, when you go in, you got your living room, and then there's like a little hallway. There's stairways that goes upstairs, and then there's a hallway, and there's like a dining room that you come into the garage, and there's a door that goes into the dining room, and then like a little kitchen with an island that didn't have an island, but all the pipes were there and everything. And then you go straight, and there's a room with 2 bedrooms, and then underneath the stairs was the bathroom. When you go upstairs, there's a bedroom right on top, pretty good size one, and then another bedroom. So basically a 4-bedroom house. There was like a half bathroom downstairs, what it looked like it was supposed to be, and then a full bathroom upstairs. So we go upstairs and we're listening, and we went up the stairs really quiet, and he went up first. And the whole time we're kind of trying to tiptoe up the creaky old stairs, you'd hear just da-da-da-da-da. I'm going, it's got to be a coon or something, because it was real fast. He goes, no, listen, it sounds like 2 feet. I said, no, it's got to be a critter. It might be a coon up there or something. So we get up to the top stairs, and we go to the main bedroom, which is really nice. But there's no walls. I mean, it looked like it had been a nice, once you finished it, would look cool. And you could hear it plain as day. Well, that was the side that the back half of the house was roofed and the front wasn't. So you could tell the plastic. So we're standing there listening, and you could hear it run back and forth. Because so we go, I go, let's go outside and see if we can see it. He goes, no, don't move. I want to listen for a while. Well, it stops. As soon as he says it, it sounds like it stops right above us. And it was weird because all of a sudden it sounded like, you know how you would tap on your desk? It sounded like something was heavy just tapping above our heads. Dun, dun, dun. And he's like, dude. And this is not cool. So we figured one of the kids, the people who lived there, maybe one of the kids came over to screw with us. So we go out, and it wouldn't be hard to probably get on the roof because, I mean, you could see in the garage. The garage was done. It had an attic above the garage, and all you had to do is get up there and lift one of the boards up, and you were on the roof. And yeah, it sounded like fingers tapping. But you can imagine they're on a roof. They're on the side that's roofed. So they'd have to be really heavy to make a really good thud because it was dum, dum, dum. So we kind of froze there, and we're like, pardon my mouth. And he starts getting nervous. He goes, I got a bad vibe. I got a bad vibe. And all of a sudden we hear somebody outside, hey, what are you doing up on the roof? You said you guys were going to behave. And all of a sudden you hear this, and you could hear it leap off the roof. And I hear the guy go, oh, shit. And he starts yelling, are you guys okay? So we go out there, we run downstairs, we go out the front door. And the guy goes, I don't know what was on that roof, but it was loud as crap. We could hear it on our house. I go, seriously? It was the same guy we were talking to. He goes, yeah, it was loud. What was that thing? I go, we couldn't see it. He goes, would you see it? He goes, I don't know, but it was tall, black as night. I mean, it was like seeing black on black. You know what I mean? And he said, when it stood up, it looked real skinny, but it was solid black. And he said he could see it jump off the roof, off the back of the house. And he heard it. We couldn't hear it thud, but he said he could hear it hit the ground and run. And he goes, dude, he's freaking out. The guy I was with is freaking out. I'm like, this is typical for me. And I really was pretty calm about it. And this guy's freaking. He goes, dudes, what'd you bring with you? I go, dude. I go, have you seen this before? And he goes, no, dude, because this place is quiet. I mean, yeah, after about midnight, you could hear a pin drop on the streets, but it's quiet. I've never in my life seen anything like that. I mean, this dude was freaking out. So we go, do you mind if we come back? Because yeah, you guys come back. You know, we all know you now. Miss, I think you called her Davies or something like that. It was, I don't remember the names. And because I saw her talking to you. So yeah, as long as you guys don't do any damage, because we don't know if they're going to ever come back and finish this house and try to finish what they're doing here. Because he goes, after seeing this, I may just sell and leave and see if somebody will buy this property. Because I got to admit, the yards were pretty good size. So yeah, I got the impression they didn't pay a chunk of money for this house, nice houses. They probably got a good deal out of it. Like the guy, we couldn't find any information on the place at all. They couldn't give us who owned the land originally and when. And all they knew was they had to stop building the project they were working. I guess the lady, when we went back, here's the deal. We went back and then we started getting more information from them about what they knew. The lady told us that we got there like at 6 o'clock. So we get there and we go knock on her door. And while we're out in her driveway talking, the guy that we were talking to, we never saw anybody from the other houses, just them two people. But there was cars in the driveways and stuff. He comes over as he sees us talking and he goes, hey, Mama Cindy, how you doing? And we're all talking and she's kind of filling us in. He's kind of filling in what she didn't know. But apparently whoever owned the property, the area, there was a chunk of land and they were going to develop it, put like a strip mall, like a small grocery and store and stuff in, and hopefully develop the area. Or somebody went wrong somewhere, went broke. So they said when they bought the houses, they didn't pay, big bucks for it. They apparently, because they wouldn't tell me what they paid for the houses, but it must have been a good steal. I personally think there was something wrong with the land because we stayed that night and both of them never had, when the guy told the lady what had happened, she freaked out. And she said the same thing. After about midnight, you could literally, she said sometimes you hear like a semi drive down the back roads or something, but it's quiet. You're out in the country. But she said after midnight, you could literally walk out in the street and drop a pin. You could probably hear it. So, we hung around. Actually, the lady was really nice and came out with hamburgers for us and everything. We were just sitting around. Neither one of us didn't know what to expect. We were just going to see if we see it again. So about dusk, we went in and kind of set up shop in this half-finished house and just kind of hung out. He brought a recorder just so we could record. I had one of those disposable cameras, but none of the film showed out. I took like 3 pictures of this thing, and none of them came out. All you saw was darkness, You barely even saw the roof of the house, which really freaked me out. But those, cameras they had at the time, some of them weren't the best. You go and buy them, and all you do is take the camera back to like CVS, and they develop the film it. You know what I'm talking about. And anyways, that night we were hanging around. We got kind of bored, so we went out and went for a drive, drove around where the streets had nothing. I mean, there was like 4 streets. You drove down and had to turn around and come back. They looked like they were going to be like cul-de-sacs. And then there was one street that went down, and then it turned into the main road. So there was 2 roads that actually connected to the main drag, or the main country road. Yeah, like the crickets and stuff. Yes, I hear them outside too. I don't have anything. Those guys ate all the killer crickets in the tank, so you don't have to worry. And it's country, and you're going to hear all that stuff. And there was some woods around it. It wasn't like farm field. There was woods around, like little patches of forest. And we drove around a little bit, just kind of went. And then we went down the road and grabbed a couple more pops. We weren't drinking or anything that night. I went down to the vending machine, grabbed a couple pots, kind of checked out the farm. It was a family-owned. They, seeds, sold seed and farm equipment and stuff like that. Came back. By that time, we were getting settled in. We were going to spend the night. And I'm glad you are doing better. I keep you in my thoughts, sweetie. He's a little better today, but still, oh man. Well, I'll keep my prayers going. There was a pond behind the place, but it was a good maybe 5 miles. I didn't see no creeks other than, like little runoff areas, but there was a pond. And we didn't get close enough to see if it was man-made or anything. Sometimes you get those man-made ponds when they build places. You're welcome, hon. And I do keep you in our thoughts, and all your family in your thoughts, and especially him lately. So, yes. So, it's dry. The guy said the pond is good fishing. So it may have been a natural pond, because apparently he's gone and took his kids down there to fish. But we settled in. We noticed about 10, 11 o'clock, the atmosphere in the whole neighborhood seemed to change. We were standing, we'd go in and out and stand in the driveway. He'd come over and check on us. And I think the last time he checked on us was like about 10:30, 11:15. And we didn't see her again other than when she brought the hamburgers, which we couldn't have think. We even offered to pay her. But she was so sweet, and her husband was just a hoot, because he was laughing about the whole situation. He didn't believe anybody. And we're hanging out. We're getting this really funky feel. So we go out and we're standing around the front of the house, walking up and down the driveway, checking out the garage. And the atmosphere in that whole neighborhood seemed to get real heavy. And it was a pleasant night. I mean, cool. You should have heard the crickets. And you could hear the crickets. It was like the air got heavier. And we kind of was like checking out the other houses. Most of them were dark by then, because this was like a Wednesday night. So the one guy said he had to get up and go to work. I didn't know what the people down the street, they were overcupper. But the place was pretty much dark other than a few porch lights. And like we said, we never saw any of the other neighbors other than the cars. There was cars at all the driveways. In fact, in one driveway, there was a car and a motorcycle. We never saw anybody coming or going. Anyways, we're standing out there and we're noticing this, and he's like, dude, we should have brought more stuff. So I'd have loved to brought. We had he had a old projector that his mom had, the real movie projector. Because I should have brought that and set it up and just see and just let it run. And I said, you should have. So we go back in, and he actually started to fall asleep. And by this time, it was probably about 11:30, a quarter till. And I'm like, if he's going to go to sleep, I'm just going to chill out, because I don't sleep. So I just kind of paced the house. And noticed as time got closer to midnight, the air seemed to get heavier, especially around that house. It seemed to get kind of dense. It wasn't depressing or anything. It was just dense. And I noticed that things started to tone down. The sounds seemed to start to fade. So I went back in, and I was inside, outside. He was crashed. By this time, he was crashed. Well, I go back in. I think when I walked back in the house, where I actually got settled down, and I was sitting on the steps to the upstairs, it was about 10 till midnight. And I didn't know he had his alarm set. So all of a sudden his alarm goes off. I jumped like 20 feet going like that. And he actually had brought alarm. And I didn't even see it. And he gets up and he's like, okay. And he brought coffee. He still had a thermos of coffee. So we're sitting there drinking a cup of coffee and talking. And we really stopped paying attention to time. And I think when he said it, I'm pretty sure he said his clock was set at 10 till 12. So he wanted to be up and awake and see if anything, because that seems to be the magic time there. And we're sitting there. We're sitting on the steps. He's sitting above me, and we're kind of leaning against the wall with our feet because they had a railing, and we had our feet up against it. I was smoking a cigarette, just talking, and he goes, "Listen." The footsteps again? He goes, "No, listen." And it got dead quiet. I mean, I've heard quiet. This was probably the most quiet. I mean, I think if you would have dropped one pin out in the grass, you would have heard it. That's how quiet it was. I mean, everything. It felt still all of a sudden. You know how when you not only is it quiet, it's still. It's like nothing is moving. And we're sitting there kind of, and both our eyes are like, holy crap, this is worse than the other night. And he goes, "Yeah, I wonder if we stirred something up when we came to this house." And I'm like, it's possible. But maybe there's more. And then we're coming to theories like maybe this is why they stopped developing the land and just didn't tell anybody that there was creepy stuff going on here. So we're sitting there talking, listen, and every so often stop to listen. And about, I'm not going to say an exact time, but it was almost close to 1. And we heard the footsteps again. And they were more pronounced this time. Weird thing is, you would figure if it jumped on the roof, you would hear it. If it would scare me up the walls, you would hear it. Because there's like nothing in the house. I mean, you talk and it echoes, you know what I'm saying? So it was weird. And we could hear the scampering again. He goes, "I'm not going up there this time. Let's just go outside." So I said, "Hold on a second. Stay here for a minute." I go, "Turn on your recorder." He had a cassette, one of those old cassette recorders. And I said, record it. Hit record and set it on what is the only part of that counter in the kitchen. Just let it run. So we'd set the recorder. We go outside. We're starting looking on the roof. Nothing. We see nothing. So we go back inside again and got quiet. And you could hear, as soon as we got back in the house, you could hear the scampering. And it always stayed on the roof side of the house. It never went where the wood and plastic was. It always stayed on that side. So when we went out this time, we kind of quietly moved to the backyard. Whereas we went to the backyard, I didn't see anything at first. And he goes, "Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap." And I go, "What?" He goes, "Don't you see it?" I go, "No." And I usually see everything. And he's froze. I mean, he is dead frozen. And standing, I wouldn't say maybe a few feet away from us, this long, dark shadow. When my eyes actually focused on it, I stopped. And all I could see was the shadow. You couldn't see any detail. It like took 2 steps, then froze. I couldn't tell if it was looking at us or it had its back to us. So he starts backing up and goes around the corner of the house. So I follow. And then all of a sudden we hear through the grass. And then you hear, and it goes, it's back on the roof again. So we run in the house and he runs right upstairs. And he takes a piece of ply, a 2x4 that was laying on the ground and starts poking the ceiling. And the more he did it, the more you hear this bam, 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 back. And he goes, do you think it's toying with us? I go, I don't know. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I've seen black shadows and stuff, but not like this. And he's starting to freak out again. I go, calm down, calm down, calm down. All of a sudden, we hear that guy again. Get the hell off the roof. I don't know what the hell you are, but get off the roof. And we go running out. The guy is standing there looking up, and you can see it standing on the backside of the house. He was tall enough it was actually risen over the house. And it jumps. You see it jump. And I mean, it took an arch. And you hear it hit the ground. I don't know why we didn't hear it in the ground inside the house the last time. But you definitely could hear it outside. And then you hear, so we all go running to follow it. And it runs into this little patch of woods. You go through the woods, and then you walk, I don't know, about 4 or 5 miles. And then there's this tiny little pond. And as soon as we hit the edge of those trees, the guy stopped and goes, I'm not going in there. I go, dude, it's not that big. I mean, you could literally see the ends of it. He goes, no, I'm not going in there. He goes, the pond is just on the other side. And then all of a sudden we heard this big splash. And we all froze. And we were like, did that thing just dump in the water? We left. I never went back. But I will tell you, it was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Because whatever it was, it stayed where you couldn't see it. All you could see was the black formity. It was, I would say it was probably about 6, 7, I would say almost 7 foot tall. But it was skinny. It wasn't hunched over. It didn't come off as some pale crawler or anything. This was something different. And the thing was, you would think the way it was tapping, that it either had like huge nails or something. But when we saw the hands as it ran into the woods, you could actually see the fingers. They were real fat, real thick. For this skinny thing, it had these like huge, wide fingers. And the guy I was with kept saying, maybe they had suction cups, and that's why we didn't hear it climb in the wall. No, they didn't look webbed. It was so, I mean, the detail was so hard. I mean, what we saw is what we saw. It did look like it had like, the knees didn't look right when it ran, but the feet didn't look like feet. They looked like feet with no toes. Because, I mean, unless it was wearing something on the feet, but they were solid like this. And they were heavy. I mean, when it ran, you could hear the impact. That was the only reason we got to follow it, was you could actually see the impact on the grass. Kind of like a duck, but more solid. It would be like a human foot with no toes. So we couldn't decide if it was wearing like shoes or something, but you couldn't tell because it was literally a solid. It was like it was cloaking itself in the dark because you couldn't tell if it was hairy. You couldn't tell. You couldn't see a face. Like I said, when it stopped behind the house and we were looking, when I noticed it, you kind of got the impression it was looking at us, but you couldn't tell. You couldn't see a face, but yet it was close enough that you should have. We should have seen some kind of detail. And so we all run back to the house and all stood in his driveway and just talked. And we're loading up the car and talking to him. He goes, you guys are leaving? I go, we're not staying the night. I don't want that thing coming back. I don't know what it is. I'm literally like puzzled because the guy I was with, he believes, but I mean, as far as I know, he's never showed any gifts or anything. So it always confused me why he saw it first and why I didn't see it, because it was literally, I mean, it couldn't have been, I mean, I would have taken maybe 5 or 6 steps and I probably could have touched it, but yet we could not see no details. Now, I do think it might have been a water entity, but it hit that water and you could hear it. And that pond's a pretty good distance away. And you could hear it smack that water. Yes, we did put a flashlight on it. And it still didn't show. You couldn't see nothing. It was like the flashlight was shining in darkness. So the light on the flashlight, there's those details I should be telling you. When you shine this flashlight on it, we didn't shine the flashlight when it was close, but when it ran, because the guy had a flashlight too. And it was like the light was just black. How can I put this? It was like, even though there was a beam of light, it was like darkness at the end of it. And even if you could see it in that darkness, there was no detail. It was like there was no detail inside that light. Even when when it ran into the forest, and we both shined our lights into the tree line, it was like you couldn't see anything past the tree. It was like that that line of trees was a barrier, and it blocked all light. And it was blocking light when it was out there. I don't know how to explain. The pictures I took when it was on the roof and it was standing there just before it jumped. I took like 6 pictures. And it was really weird. 2 of the pictures were like somebody took their hand and moved it just as I took the picture. So it was nothing like a smear. And then the other, I think it was like 24 pictures. The other 20, I was just clicking. I was clink, click, clean, clank. I must have rattled off at least 12 while it was standing on the roof before it jumped. And the ones I took when it jumped was nothing but it either came out solid black and you could barely see the details of the roof, or they came out totally black. There was one picture where you could see it was, I don't know how to explain it. It was like this blur and blackness. That must have been when it jumped. And that's the only thing that came out. I couldn't explain it. I just figured it was the camera. He still thinks that it was that. And now that I think about the light, another thing that was weird about this thing was we went back about a week later. And that guy goes, I watched that house after you guys left. Nothing. But the place, he goes, but at midnight, this place still gets quiet. And I'm like, well, we went back a year later. The older couple was moved out. That house was for sale. One of the other houses was set for sale and empty. The guy was still living there. He had gotten a divorce, so he had the house to himself. I mean, he had 2 kids and, his wife. And then the house with the motorcycle and the car, like I said, those houses, we never see anybody come and go. You could see lights on. That house only had a car. The guy said that he never sees them. He said the one guys that moved, they both work nights. So he was pretty sure they were like in the medical field or something. But he says he never sees them. He said the motorcycle had been gone for a while. And then out of curiosity, one of the reasons I'm telling this story is people I was with Saturday night for my birthday party, he was the guy that was with me at the time. We, before we went out and had our fun, we drove up there because it was not a very far drive. All the houses have been torn out, and it's actually everything's starting to grow over. So somebody went there, cleaned out all those houses, took so we don't know if anybody just moved on their own or what happened. We couldn't find out any information, but all the houses are gone. You could see where the properties were at, but everything was gone. Actually, it looked like somebody came in and started planting trees. It's like they were trying to cover something up. It was weird. We stayed there for like an hour, and this was just that was getting dark. And this was just 2 weeks ago. And we stood there and talked and tried to figure it out. We're standing on this street, and it doesn't even look. It looked like somebody ripped up the houses and literally started planting shrubs and stuff. But it had been a while. I mean, you figure 77, 78. So, but yeah, it's like when we went back to even talk to the guy, it had been a few years. So, I mean, and we don't know what happened. We even went to Sunbury to find out the next day. He called his sister, if I remember, Sunday she called me and said they called Sunbury and asked for anything on that. And nobody could tell him anything. She was given address. I didn't know, but he had wrote down the street addresses and everything that were on the street. The signs were gone. The street signs were gone and everything. I don't know how. He must have wrote them down a long time ago. But then again, this guy, he's like me. He's got an eye for detail. And his sister does too. I mean, they're twins. They're almost identical. I mean, in every way. But yeah, it was weird. Um, he said if he comes back in town, he wants to go up there and stay the night and camp there and see if anybody says anything. They don't. Nobody knows that they own the property. I called that following week just out of curiosity. Uh, I believe the land is now owned by the city, and that's all we could find out. I don't know what happened to those people that lived there. It's pretty obviously they toured. I mean, you can't even tell they're other than the driveways that are starting to grow over and the streets. You couldn't tell there was ever even those houses there, and we still never figured it out. Well, he wants to go back and see it when he comes back in town again. He wants to go back, spend the night, and see if that thing is still there. He even says if we can get down to that pond, because it's all grown over now. If we can get back to the pond and camp out by the pond and see if we can catch this thing, if it's even still existing, or what. I mean, I can't find anything. We're still looking, and we can't find anything on this place. And it's trippy. It's almost like the place never existed. Even when it existed, it's like you can't. I even went and pulled up an old map. It wasn't even on a map. So whoever started the building place, they never like. It was weird. And he goes, maybe it's just a glitch in the matrix, and none of this ever happened. This is what he kept saying to me when we were at the bar that night. Because maybe it was just a glitch in the matrix, and none of that happened, but we remember it. I'm like, no, dude, I saw your face. You're a stud. You were scared that night. Those nights. You were scared worse than I was, and I'm not scared easy at all. I was just nervous. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see detail. So we do want to go back. We do want to camp out. So he doesn't want me to go by myself or with somebody else. He wants to be with me. He leaves for, I think, Japan next week. So he's got details he's got to do before he leaves. He goes, don't take my sister either. I'll get mad at you. I don't want her going. She'll have too much fun, and she won't tell me what happened. So I'm gonna wait till he comes back. I don't know how long he's gonna be gone, and let's hope that we go back out there. We catch something because I'm curious. I mean, this was one of those things all through my life I couldn't figure out. It upset me because every time you shine a flashlight on it, every time you try to see, I mean, you can see us both trying to squint. All of us were trying to squint to see if we could see anything on it, but it was creepy. But what really creeped me out the most is you hear these stories and you always say, oh, they got long fingers and there you can tell they have long nails and stuff. This thing, it was weird because that's the one thing I distinctly remember about this thing. It was like the hands were like just huge. They were like round. And it looked, from what I could tell, it had, 4 fingers and a thumb. But it was like even the thumb. And when it ran, it kind of flopped his hands. But it just still upsets me that I've seen dark shadows before, and usually I can pick up on them. Sometimes with certain entities or spirits, I can see details. It's the first time you look at darkness. Now, I've seen shadow people where you're looking in a dark figure, where you can see a black figure in blackness. That's scary. But when you look at that and you still see nothing but darkness, that's creepy. That's something that doesn't belong here. Yeah, it almost felt, that's what he kept saying. Barry kept saying it was literally like it sucked light out of it. They'd sucked up the light. Because it was weird. I mean, I distinctly remember once we hit the tree, we were watching it run, but you know how you get that, and you get 2 of them, you have a big, field of light. And his light was actually brighter than ours. And it was like you couldn't see anything from that thing onward was darkness. So it was black and everything beside it was black, but yet you could still see it. And it was like the light just stopped there. And when we shined it on those trees as it ran through that thing, it was like, so only a few of the trees, like you could actually see the bark. And as we got closer, you could see the trees. But as we shined the lights into the tree area, you couldn't see nothing. You couldn't see detail. It was pitch black. When it hit that water, was the only way we knew that it had gotten to the other side. And it must have been booking, because it must have picked up pace once it hit, because it's still a good little truck from that tree line to the pond. And like I said, the pond was probably about the size of a half of a football field at tops. The guy said it was deep. It did have fish. And he didn't think it was man-made either. He's pretty sure it was a natural pond. But we never saw any creeks or anything. I never went. We went to the pond once, but it was just, you walk out of you could have gone around and not even touch forest if you walked probably about a mile each way and gone that way and gone completely around this. It was like a squared off section of woods that led to this pond. And then around the pond was all, overgrowth. There was like an area. He said it was the area he cleaned out for them to fish. That he went down there and cleaned out an area so they could fish off the bank. He said he was catching nice sized bluegill and everything out of it. He caught a couple night catfish. But I don't know. I hope we go back. I hope he comes back so we can go back. Where this encounter happened, up just east of Sunbury here in Ohio. And it's like out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I was surprised that it didn't even take us long to find the place. And even when we were back, we weren't sure exactly if we could remember what was that. Because once we got there, it didn't look like the place. But we knew the only reason we knew it was there was because of two leads in. Because like I said, there was a street that you went right down, and there was some of the houses. Then it branched off, and there was a couple streets that never had houses on it, but there were streets. And then there was a street that ran down that connected some of those streets, and then it went out to the main road, well, what you would call the main road. But it's all overgrown now. So before we left Saturday and went to go, have our fun, he swore, he goes, I'm coming back. We're going to come back and stay. If you don't want to go down to the pond, I'm like, I'm fine going down and camping by the pond. The only problem is this is all overgrown now, so you don't know what kind of foxes and there's coyotes that you make it, even up here, you see them every so often. So you don't know what you're going to be out there. And he goes, so I don't care either way. I'm always equipped for whatever. And so I'm hoping in about 2 months. See, I told him I didn't want to do it in the winter. He goes, why not? That'd be the best time to do it. So we may do it. If he comes back sometimes in the next couple of months, this could be a winter one. I have I told him I've got stuff I can actually record now. I've got tripod. We got our phones. I said we could even stream if you wanted to. So I'm hoping that's the case. Hey, Blue. So I'm hoping that's the case. I do want to go back, and I promised him I wouldn't go back without him. So we'll see, because I want to encounter that thing again. It was creepy. I mean, it didn't scare me. It was just so strange. And like I said, the hands of this thing just stuck out. I can still see the hands. And that's what I told Barry. I said, I can still see the hands. I mean, to this day, they were just like these fat hands on this skinny little thing. It was weird. And I remember those than the feet, more than the feet. Other than when it ran, for something so skinny, it sounded so heavy. I mean, it was like, just weird. And when it hit the water, it sounded like something heavy hitting that water. I mean, and I mean, I can imagine what it looked like hitting that water. It probably had a big splash and everything. But so we are going to go back. I'm just going to wait for him to get back so we can go together. Now for the Melonheads, yeah, Ohio is very weird. The Melonheads is an interesting story too, because that's based off a doctor, kind of like a mad scientist that was experimenting with kids. And I've heard several different stories. But every so often you hear about an encounter with them, still to this day, not talked about. If you go up that way, and that's kind of a creepy story. Actually, I think I'll have. I don't know if Gemma did that story about the Melonheads or not. I may have her do that for one of her Monday videos. But yeah, that's I've heard the main story you hear is it was kind of a the kids was a orphanage or something, and he was experimenting with the kids. They their heads were all misshaped. They were really big, bigger than the body, huge. And then they called them melonheads. I don't know. Have you ever seen The Wrong Turn or some of these movies with inbreds? That's what people thought they were. But Dr. Crow. I can't remember his name, but I've heard different doctor names. And it was kind of creepy to hear the different stories, but they all pretty much sum around this doctor who experimented with these kids and caused deformities. They were messed up. Every so often they say that the kids. This is an old story. So if any of these kids are still alive, they're probably adults. But they were seen roaming, stealing food, trying to get into houses, and then it kind of laid off for a while, and then it picked back up. Is that what it was? The kids had hydrochlor. I heard that he was experimenting on them. That's what I'd heard on a number of the stories that you hear up there. Of course, things are twisted, but that's what they had. Was he? Now, maybe they were trying to say that he was trying to heal them. I don't know. That's what I heard, that he was experimenting on them. They don't survive very long, but apparently some of these, every so often you still hear stories. Now, not as much as you used to. I know the last time I heard somebody talk about it was probably 5 or 6 years ago. And I think they were just talking about the story themselves, but they acted like they had an encounter because they were from that area. I'm going to have to look back into it because that's the Melonheads, is an interesting story here. And like I said, I've heard different stories with different doctors' names. So I'm going to have to go deeper into that. I said going to Helltown. I want to go back to Helltown. That place, people still go up there. They did a fake documentary about the place. I was a little upset by it, but the place is pretty creepy. And weird stuff does go on there. He injected the kid. Oh, they injected the kids. Yeah, I thought the story was. Yeah, I thought it was right. Yeah. Yeah, because I've heard 3 different stories pretty much in the same line that he was experimenting with the kids. I've heard Dr. Crow. I've heard Dr. Black. I heard a Dr. Josephine or something like that. I heard one story. It was a woman that was doing it, but that story never paled out when I tried to research it. It was always a guy. You're calling BS on the Melonhead? Well, I can take you there and you can check it out. And if you'd like to come and go see if we can find them. I'm probably sure they're pretty much gone now because that was pretty much an old story. Ron, have you heard of any cases? Yeah, it causes the head swell. It can deform, yeah. Have you heard anything about these things over the last couple of years? You kind of brought something out that I hadn't thought about for a long time. Well, I think we discussed it once somewhere with somebody. But yeah, it's been a while since somebody talked about the Melonheads. Now I have Gemma look into that, so she would probably get a good kick. Maybe she can. See, that I did know, that they turned on him and killed him. That his ghost supposedly roams those areas too. I'll bring a pound of crab meat and you can make crab cakes. Sounds good to me. And then we go search for them. That's good. And I'll take you to Helltown too. I can take you to Crybaby Bridge. Actually, that's in Chillicothe. My dad believes he remembers where it's at. So when we go down to see his sister. Good night, Blue. You have a good one. So next time we go visit his sister, he's going to take me to this Cryberry Bridge because there's a guy that actually has a viral video out right now of the place. And Dad said that place was always creepy. So he wants to go check it out now. So we're going to go check it out. I'm going to film that. You get to see my dad get all paranormal. He doesn't. It's funny. He believes in UFOs and stuff. And he kind of has a thing for cryptids. But he don't believe in ghosts and goblins. He doesn't believe in that stuff. Yes, good night, Blue. Have a good day tomorrow. So, yeah, it'll be fun. I'm definitely filming that because it's not far from where he grew up. I mean, he's from Chillicothe. He knew. Once he saw I showed him the video. Go, Dad, do you know where this place is? He goes, oh, yeah, I know where that's place. I have to kind of get back down there, but I'm pretty sure I can take you right to the place. I'm sure we hung around there many times. So, see, that's the same thing I've heard. They killed him. They fled into the woods, and they pretty much have been living like inbreds, is what I've heard. And what's left them are haunting the place. Now, see, I heard that their doctor haunts the place too, and the place, the orphanage or the house that he did. It was an orphanage, wasn't it? That's what I was told. It was an orphanage. But I'm going to have to go back and look at that because now I'm confusing myself, and I want to make sure I get that story right because I have heard different stories with different doctors. Yeah, that's what I thought. I want to go. PT Paranormal. He's from Ohio and does a lot of stuff here too, and I love his stuff because he's gone to places I've been to, and he's like me. He's been hitting the mounds. And so if he can hit the mounds, he's going to the mounds that you can go to during the park, and he goes to them during the day. And so I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of my ranger friend and see if he would like to go to Chillicothe to the mounds, the Hopewell and mounds down there, and the Adena Hopewell mounds down there, and do a midnight investigation because I have a friend that should be able to get us on the park, inside the park and the area after hours and dark because he's done it for us before. So I'm going to try to get a hold of him. I'm not going to get a hold of him until I know I can do it for sure. But yeah, some of his stuff is great. So if you want to check out pretty good stuff, go check out PT Paranormal. He does a lot of, he's here in Ohio. He goes to the places I've been to many years ago. Yeah. Oh, so it is Dr. Crow. And I know the doctor was a real person. I've heard different names. I knew the doctor was a real person. And I knew it wasn't a woman when I heard the woman as a woman. I told him this ain't true. I looked, it's a guy. But I could never remember the name because, and like I said, one story, somebody called him Dr. Black. And others, they called him like a Josephine or Giffini. And then Dr. Crow. But that's the name that usually comes up the most. But I've heard other doctor names. So, but then again, people twist things over time. And it's been a long time since I've been in that area. God, years. Yeah, I knew he had a wife. I knew that there was a wife involved. Yeah, I'm going to have Gemma pull that up. That would be a good Monday one. I would guess that what he was trying to do, but he was actually giving it to him. That I knew he was experimenting with. I knew he was experimenting with them. Excuse me. But I'll tell you what, guys, if we go to that place up in Sunbury, because it's just not far away, and we go back, I'm filming it. And if it does happen, what I'll do is before we go, I'll get with you guys. And if I can figure out, if I can have Wi-Fi and all that, I may try to stream. But if I can't, I shouldn't have any problems. If he'll let me, Barry is kind of a private guy, so he may not want to be on a stream. But either way, it will be filmed. Yeah, he was giving it to him. Ron is right about that. I wasn't sure if that's what he was giving him, but I knew he was experimenting on him, that he was the reason for the head. God, that's been so long ago. I wonder why I have like all these stories in my head on that. Oh yeah, I mean, I want you to think about something, Edna. There's a lot of orphanages that have existed over the years, and you don't know. Some of these orphanages were out in the middle of nowhere. You really don't know what went on there. You don't, and I mean, you hear rumors. So yeah, now it's still the day I still worry about orphanages that are out in the middle of nowhere. You don't know what goes on, and I hope they regulate them a lot better. Windsor Road is central to the legend. Cryberry Bridge is often mentioned as a Melonhead territory. Now you got to be careful, Ron. There's a lot of crybaby bridges. Now the one in Chillicothe, I thought no, I've never heard. I'll have to ask my dad. Maybe he would know about that because the Crybaby Bridge down there, it actually it's a railway bridge, and there's a tunnel. And the story is a woman was carrying her baby and she was walking along the bridge on the above, and then there's a tunnel below, and then there's a creek beside it. And supposedly they don't know if she would. Dad believes the story is she was going to do her and the baby in. But anyways, they end up falling off. The body end up in the creek down below with the baby. And the rumor is, and just like in the video, you can hear her talk and you can hear the baby cry. In the video, this guy, I think you hear a voice, but you definitely hear the baby crying. Of Kirkland, Ohio, yes. Thank you, Chris. But yeah, that bridge is in Chillicothe. I believe he said it was not far on the. So I'm trying to Chillicothe. He said it's off to the railroad side, so I'm gonna have to look because it's. Oh, excuse me, one second. Sorry about that. Oh, I'm jerking again. Let me refresh. There we go. Hopefully that helped. But yeah, so I'm definitely going to film that. I don't know if my dad will do it live, but if I can go live down there, I will. We're planning on doing that here real soon because I got to get him down to see his sister. Because we're going to go there. He wants to go there, and then his grandparents owned farmland, and he doesn't know what ever happened to it. So he wants to go down and see if he can find the land, see what they did with it. Oh, about 50 years now. Yeah, it's been I mean, the story itself is older than crap. Yeah. That legend, histories, whatever you want to call it, it's been around a long time. In fact, I think there's even a old TV show. I remember one about it back in the 70s and in the 80s. I can't remember what show it was on that they talk about. So yeah. No, yeah. See, then this bridge, that's not a like a road bridge. It's a railroad bridge down there. It's like coffee where this happened at. But you hear that all the time. But Dad said that was the legend that they don't know if she was trying to commit. She was trying to commit offing herself with the baby because she couldn't take care of it. One, he said there was one story that she was going to off the baby, and it didn't work out the way it was supposed to. But anyways, they both ended. Her and the baby ended up in the creek underneath because you can see it's like a tunnel, and it's like a road tunnel, and right beside that tunnel is another tunnel that a creek runs along the side of the road. Yeah, every state has at least two of them. Yeah, that's there. I think there's actually a couple of them, more than two here in Ohio. And I know they're real big down south. The crybaby bridges are real big down south. But yeah, I would agree with that. About every state has at least two. Now the phantom train noises. There's a one down in another East Ohio, Southeast Ohio, that you can hear phantom trains. You can also in Chillicothe. It was a big railroad town, and a lot of people say you can hear the old trains come through at night. They don't use them like they used to, and you would hear old trains come through. Oh, Ohio's got dozens of them. Yeah. Are you from Ohio, Ron? You're not from Ohio, are you? You live out in the country. Yeah, I've seen your videos. So yeah, I'm gonna throw this up, folks. And again, folks, thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Those who are ghosting in the background and enjoying the night, please enjoy yourselves. And like I said, if you leave a comment, please, if you got ideas, I want to make it spooky time. So, if there's things that you might interest you or you might want to hear about. Now, I'm not like Gemma. I save my research for pay. But, I can look and stuff and probably pull up stories for you, especially stuff here around Ohio. There we go. I wanted to put that up. You got to push the donations. And anything I get actually goes into the channel. So if you donate to me, it will probably go into the channel. Turn off there. There we go. You sure about that, Ron? You're in North Maine. Yeah, you probably do. You might. I've heard of crybaby lakes and ponds. Get some real spooky stuff for October. Yeah, I'm trying to save the good stuff for them. A lot of people haven't heard my demon story, so I'm going to try to go into more details because, even though all that took place, there was stuff that was weird going on before all that went down, before the guys moved into the place. There was stuff that goes on in that area because it's literally, I'm actually where I'm sitting. I am almost directly looking at where I used to live. If you move all the houses, I could probably see the buildings where I used to live, where that happened. And that set of apartments that go all the way down followed that main road that goes into the cemetery. So seeing stuff was not uncommon in that apartment complex and along a lot of those apartment complexes that sat along the cemetery there. Yes, tell us your stories. Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to retell the demon story. I'm going to tell a little bit and try to, because I've told it before, and I try to give more and more details as I tell it because things start coming back to me each time I tell it, and I walk away going, oh, I should have told him this, and I should have told him what happened, what led to this. I'm going to retell that. I'm going to retell the Hat Man story from when I was a kid. And then I'm going to give a little more details about the Hat Man when I saw him again at the store. Because some weird things are going on with that again. And it almost, the other day, made me come home and stay in the house for a while again because I saw him again. And I'm going to tell some of that. And then I'm going to tell them about, I told you guys about when I first really started realizing about seeing stuff when I was in 5th grade, about seeing the little things that were following the kids on the playground and stuff. where there's a little bit more to those stories too that I'm going to get into over the month. I do have a witch story that happened not to me, but to a friend. And I will never forget him telling me this story because even to this day, when he talks about it, it's you can see him visually shake worse than me. I mean, he kind of tenses up, and you can see it in his eyes that this woman really put the fear of God in him. So I'm going to tell that one too. In fact, he had called. He listens to the show, the streams, and asked if he goes, "You can tell that story if you want." So I tried to get him to come on and tell it himself, but he won't do it. He didn't piss her off. He turned her down. Kind of like what happened with that guy in Louisiana. Little different situation. And when he called about a week ago, he said that it wouldn't bother if I tell the story. So I'm going to tell it. I told him, well, I figured that'd be a good Halloween story if you don't mind. He goes, yeah, wait, you can wait till October. So I'm going to tell that one. Same thing in her mind, yeah. Yeah. And there's one I want to tell about, not the one with me and Greg, but another friend of mine. He told me about a month ago about his dog man encounter up in Michigan. So I told him to write it down and give it to me, give me more details. So I'm hoping I have that story for next month too. And then I got some more of these creepy I see who follows you stories that I'm going to add into the mix. Now, speaking of which, what was it? Today is Thursday, so it would have been Monday. Had to have been Monday. I get confused on days. Forgive me when you're running all the time, but I'm pretty sure it was Monday. It was Monday night. I'd gone to go get some pop for Giles, and I am still smoking, but it's nice because I'm not smoking until night. I'm not smoking at all during the day. The meds I had to hold off on because I took one and I actually got sick. So he wants me to hold off before I take another one because I want to beat this habit. But right now, I don't mind holding off until night. But I've done really good. I mean, this is a pack I bought Monday, in fact. I go to the gas station, which wasn't where it happened, and I go in, get pop, grab him a couple 2 liters. He said just grab me 2 liters, so I grabbed him a couple 2 liters. I grabbed me a pack of smokes, and then there's a cigar shop down the road, and I wanted to hurry because he closes at 8. You know, it's a head shop, but he has a cigar room, and he carries a couple of these really nice cigars that Dad likes to get once in a while, pops. And so I left there and went there because I literally, when I pull out of that parking lot, I can go straight down my street. I don't have to jog or anything. I leave that parking lot and just drive straight across High Street. Anyways, I stop. Something here just stopped. Who are you talking about? Just stop. You made me want to stop. But anyways, I go to the gas station. I'm driving down the road. And as I'm going to the cigar shop across, anyways, I see this guy walking. And he's got a hoodie on, a white hoodie on, a pair of shorts on, just a pair of jean shorts. It was white. And he's walking with the head down, he had a backpack on. I don't know why it caught my eye. Try to stop smoking. It's with my nerves right now. Right now, that's I'll tell you what. You'll know when I quit because I'll be probably even more of a spaz when I officially quit. But right now, the nights, it's better that I'm trying not to gain weight. So that's why I've been trying to save the smoking for nights. So And I haven't had much of an appetite anyways, so I'm having a hard time eating dinner, but I'm wanting to nitpick. And I actually have lost almost 15 pounds now. So I'm almost at about 185 now. My check yesterday, I was 190. I was bounced between 189 and 90. So, and I don't want to gain weight. And I'm afraid once I quit, I don't want to do that. Anyways, so I don't know why this kid caught my attention. So I pull into the smoke shop and go in. And go to the back, the smoke shop where the cigars are. That guy knows me, knows Pop. He says hi, how's Pop? I'm going. I'm looking to see if he's in and grabbing him his cigars. I usually go in and come out. Well, I figured I'd look around and see if I can find even something really different. So even though I have his two regulars in my hand, I'm kind of scanning cigars out. That kid comes into the shop. Comes in, and I'm watching. Oh, this kid that I just saw. He comes in, he walks up, he's talking to the guy that owns the place and runs the register and everything. And they're having a pretty good conversation. So I open the door, and as soon as I open the door, they both get quiet. And I go, is everything okay? He goes, everything's fine. And I said, okay. So I walk up with his cigars, and the kid's making a purchase. And he starts to leave. And the guy at the counter goes, Steve, watching. I go, is everything okay? And he goes, just watching. He goes out the door, and if you go out the door, there's like a hill, and then there's a auto zone right next door with about a 2-foot space between the buildings, and you just go right down and you're on auto zone. The parking lot's connected. If you turn, there is a masseuse, and then what they call a kitty bar, where they have adopted cats. You can go and adopt and play with cats and stuff, and get smoothies and stuff, and for kids too. Anyways, or you go that way, and then there's East Lincoln, and goes out the door, and he turns and he starts walking. No, yeah, East Lincoln. He's walking just before he gets to where the glass stops, because it's full of glass. He looks into the shop, and I swear to God, this guy had no face. All you could see was two black eyes. I thought they were sunglasses, but it was like you could barely see a nose. There was like no detail to his face. And the guy, he's a Muslim. And just to show you, he goes, I think that was a jinn. I go, what? He goes, look at him. And he kind of stopped. When he noticed that we were looking back at him, kind of just stood there and stood up real straight and looked at us. And then it was like he didn't just walk away. It's like he just disappeared. And that guy was standing there shaking. He goes, dude, I think a jinn's here. And I'm like, are you serious? He goes, did you look at that? Did you see that? I was standing here talking to that. It was talking to me. He goes, you didn't notice that when you came in? I go, I saw him walking down the street, but I couldn't, he had to set that. And he goes, dude, go up there. And we both literally go out. He's gone. I mean, he didn't cross the street. We went to the end of the place to see if he walked up into the neighborhood. He was gone. And he goes, I think it was for me. I think he came for me. Why? Because I just came back from home. I was home. I'm like, you serious? He goes, yeah. He goes, I've seen him twice now. This is the first time he's come in the shop. I'm like, he was freaking out. I was freaking out. I'm like, dude, that was weird. But he swears it was jinn. I don't know what it was. But when I was standing in that room with the door shut, because he's got a humidifier room to keep the cigars nice. Dude, they were talking. It was off. I could see a mouth moving. I can see part of his face, but it was like I wasn't really paying attention. What I thought were sunglasses was its eyes. And it ain't no wonder why the whole time they had the conversation, he just stood there and rung them up. And he was like stiff straight. But he's ringing them up. And they were having it looked like not like it was an angry conversation. It just looked like your average. How are you? How you doing? Is this all you would like? But he was like, so when I came out and it got quiet, and he looked at me the way he did, explained everything once I saw its face. But the weird thing was, like I said, it wasn't like he took a step past the glass. It was just like, woof, he was gone. Because we literally stood there for a second and ran. We would have either seen him go across the high street, which is a main drag that goes all the way through Columbus, or he would have gone across the street where there's another line of stores and a carry out and a restaurant and a kung fu place they put in, a karate place they put in there, and a thrift store and a barbershop. He didn't go that way. So we immediately looked up, and as the street goes up to a neighborhood, you would have seen him. I even jogged to the end of the building where there's an alley, and he wasn't in the alley. So where'd he go so fast? But it was creepy, and this was just a couple minutes. It was Monday. And I went in today to give him 2 more of those cigars. He wasn't there. There was a guy, and I go, where's the boss at? Because Giles knows him because he graduated with the guy's brother at Westland. I go, where's the boss at? And this big guy goes, he wouldn't come in today. He hasn't been in for 2 days. I go, what? He goes, he says he's sick. Okay. So I'm going to go in and check on him tomorrow and see if he shows up tomorrow because I want to make sure he's okay. It freaked him out. He swore it was a gin. He swore it was a gin. He kept saying, do you know anything about this stuff? And I go, yeah, don't you? It's part of your heritage. Because, yeah, I know everything. They're not good. Some of them are good. Some of them are bad. I go, well, you stood there and had a conversation with him. You couldn't have been that bad. Dude. He goes, you don't understand. I go, well, maybe I don't. But he knows that I do paranormal. He knows I've talked about the things I've seen with him. So he knows that I kind of understand. But it was weird. It's so weird it was like that creature in the dark. And honestly, the black on his eyes were like huge. So I honestly thought they were sunglasses until he looked back at us from outside. But the weird thing was, it was like you could barely see a nose. It was like there was a mouth, but no lips. There was no detail other than the black, what looked like a nose and a mouth. And I can only imagine standing in front of that thing, having a conversation. I kind of wish I'd gone out there faster. But I mean, as soon as I opened that door, the conversation stopped. He finished his purchase and went out that door. And I swear, he was saying, I think he was here. I was home. I went home. And I'm hoping I don't know how to get a hold of him. And if I bring it up to Giles and ask the brother, because they own a shop on the west side too. Because Giles don't believe. He kind of believes, but he doesn't believe. So I'm just hoping he comes back to shop and I can actually talk to him about it. He didn't want to talk. He made his comments, and I left. And it was obvious he thought it was there for him. But to watch them have that conversation and not really know, I just wish I was standing there when they were having the conversation, because I wanted to hear what was said. Because he wouldn't even say what they were. He didn't even say what they were talking about. So they were definitely, from the way he was acting, something was said. Yeah, that's pretty wild. And that's probably one of the wildest things I've ever heard, because Gemma talks about they were pretty sure a jinn was in that house that her mom used to live in. I'm telling you, he was freaked out. And the guy told me today he hadn't been there for 2 days, and he's the boss. He kept saying he was sick. He called both days and asked him to cover. So I'm hoping I go in tomorrow and he's there, because I would like to talk to him a little bit more about this situation and what went down when they were talking. But see, that's the kind of things that go on. Is the jinn same like a demon? Jinn are entities that were before time. They are fire, they are ice, they're kind of like elementals, but they can be good, they can be bad, they could be mischievous, they could be anything they want to be. Kind of like the Fae. You don't know. I mean, there's some Fae that are just outright bad, but there are some Fae that, if they're in a good mood, they might actually help you. That's kind of like Jinn, and they were here before time itself, according to the mythos. But yeah, some of them are like demons. The ones you see in a lot of these videos, and a lot of those are kind of fakes, I hate to say, from over in the East. The what they call Jinn there. Now, there's a couple of videos I'm pretty sure are real, but they are like fallen angels. Yeah, they are like fallen ones. Yes. Thank you, Edna. It's probably a better way you can describe it. But they're kind of like their own entities. Um, some say they were men at one time who were wizards and went even darker or more, got so entangled in it that it changed them physically forever. But in most parts, Jinn were here from what I've always understood and read, and always took it from all the stuff that I've read. The Jinn were here before time itself. They were here before us. They were here before the heavens and earth were created. They can be good, they can be bad. They kind of choose what they want to be. They're very strong. Even the good ones, they are very powerful. They're probably one of the most powerful entities that you could probably run into next to either an angel or a demon. And even they're stronger than a demon because they can possess you. They don't need a go-between to possess you. They can just outright possess you. Like a demon usually uses a toy or something or weakens you, where a Jinn can just take over. So, yeah. And actually, I'd like Gemma to talk about more of those too. And I think that'd be a good Tuesday conversation for you, Ron, if you don't really know about Jinn. Jinns are interesting, and there's so many stories about the Jinn. A Jinn is the same thing you hear in Arabians when he rubs the laren. That's kind of a Jinn, a good Jinn. But even in the story, that Jinn was not good. Have you ever seen the movie Wishmaster? That's a Jinn story. Actually, there's 4 of them. They're not bad. The other ones are not as good, but you should check them out. Kind of gives you the same prayer, where this Jinn was trapped inside of a stone. Jinn can be trapped in things like a lantern, a lamp, or a stone, like a gem. They can be encased in a scroll. They can, if you can catch them and get them into something or bound to something. But it's hard to do because they are very powerful. And they can be like the best thing you ever have or the scariest thing you ever want to come across. I wouldn't want to. I don't know, but I wanted to tell that story because it was fresh. And this is actually happening right now. So I'm really hoping I see this guy. But that was probably another weird thing next to some other things in my life because I've seen a lot of weirdness. But to see it physically in daytime, something like that in the daytime, in public, and to watch it interact with somebody is kind of a trip. And I told him before I left, I hate to say this, but I'm kind of glad I was here because that was a treat. And he was scared. I mean, this dude was scared. I mean, when I left, he was praying. I've seen the cartoon character of Alibaba, and he had a Jinn in a bottle. Yes, or a lamp. It's usually like an oil lamp, and you have Jinn in a bottle. But Aladdin is based off the tales of 101 Arabian Nights. But Jinn are interesting. If you really want to research something, research Jinn for a while. It's not like a rabbit hole, but the information's out there, all different types of stories. But all I know is I want to go in tomorrow and see if he's there. I'm going to at least drive by and look in, check in and see if he's there. If he's there, me and him are going to have a conversation. I want to know what was said. because I didn't ask. I didn't stick around because he was scared. And he was getting ready to close. So I'm sure he closed and booked because he's been closing. He was closing early. He said he was closing early, and it wasn't even dark yet. Usually he closed like at 8 or 9, and this was still daylight. I mean, the sun was just. It was probably about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and he even had a sign out the other day when I was there that he was going to close early. Yeah, I bet he closed even earlier than that. I bet he closed after I left because he was, when I walked out that door and him saying goodbye, and I said I'd be back to check on him, he was praying. He put the rug down and he was praying. I'm still working on the ancient text. Mind-blowing stuff. Yes. Yes, it is. Now, be careful too. I found some stuff, Edna, that wasn't properly translated. So it was kind of not. So I had to go back and look at some stuff. So I don't know which ones you're looking at. So make sure you get the right one. And make sure you get the right translations. I know there's a couple of them that have translations are not the best. So, well, Mr. Ryan's. I'm going to show that picture of what I showed you in that video today. I'm going to show that picture Tuesday after Gemma does her thing because she has some things she wants to talk to you about in Tuesday's show. So, and I'm going to bring that up toward the end. What do you think of that? She says she's actually found 2 of those in her backyard, dude. Earthly Patriot. I've been following her for some time. She's a doll baby too. But she lives there in Arizona. She says she's found them in her yard on her property. So she must own a chunk of land there too. And she's really into like conspiracy stuff. But she's also a lot about Earth. Edna would love her channel. She really talks about vibrations and stuff. I mean, she's great, but YouTube gave her such a hard time. It's like when she uploads now, it's like out of the blue. So I'm always happy to see her. Now she's uploaded a couple times lately, so that's a good sign. Maybe she's got a bunch. I think what she does a bunch of videos and sits on them, then slowly release, because YouTube gives her the hardest time. They've tried to shut her down a couple times. But when I saw that video, it hit on some of the research that I have been doing in the past, and I still do on the side. It kind of connects with a lot of the on-legged skulls and the history I've been looking into and all that. So it should, I'm really hoping that either she will, I literally spent about a half hour today writing questions down for her. I'm really hoping she'll talk to me and maybe I can get her on the show. I know she did an interview with Mr. MBB333 a couple years back, and she did an interview with Woodward TV, but I haven't seen her do anything since. I think she's not. I think she's really soft-spoken too. I mean, if you hear her talking in the videos, she's very soft-spoken. So I don't know why. She's just kind of a private person too. So I'm hoping if I can't get her on the show, I can maybe get a pre-recorded interview with her about these things. If she's finding stuff like that on her property, I want to go to Arizona. Me and you can go check it out. Seriously, because that crystal skull was, I mean, it looked like it was, what would you say, petrified? But you've seen it. Folks, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to my Facebook page and you'll see a video by Earthly Patriot. You can actually pull it up here on YouTube. She has a video right now about a skull that was found. And she says and it was found in Cave, Arizona somewhere. I'll have to go back and look. But it's a stone that looks like it's been fossilized. It's crystallized, but it's one of the elongated skulls. And It doesn't look like a skull until you put it up against one of the actual ones, and you're like, holy crap. You can actually see on those skulls, their neck doesn't go up into their head like ours. It actually goes up in along the back of this part of the head and actually goes into the back of here. So it's trippy. If you let me do this for those who want to go check out. It's a very short video. Let me pull it up, and I'll put the link in here. Oop, that's not what I wanted, you goof. You goof. I'll put the link in here for you guys, so you can go check it out. And I want to talk about it, but Gemma wants to talk about some things with Mr. Ryan. So I'm going to have to make sure I have Cheetos and peanut butter M&Ms or Reese's. So while they talk, I can have something to nibble. Oh, where'd it go? I hope they didn't take it down already. I know it's on here. Excuse me a second. I want to cough in you guys' ears. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. I'm getting dry mouth. I should have got more water. Okay. Let me get the link here. And you guys want to check it out. It's just a short little video, but it is interesting. The crystal skull was found at Cave Creek, Arizona. Okay, hold on. There you go. If you guys want to go check it out, check it out. It's an interesting short little video, and it kind of opened some doors for me because I didn't know I'd found these in America. I know a lot of these have been found other places. So it's a neat little video. I may have a new, I can never say that. Can I just say Wendigo or Skinwalker, please? I can't say that no matter how hard I try. And don't ask me to try. Case to talk about next week too. Oh, cool. Hold on. I messed with YouTube and it made me all jerky, which is nothing new because I'm jerky already. But there we go. Cool. So we should have some good talk, a good conversation next week. Also, Ryan, I'm going to tell Gemma that when we have an interview, if she has somebody to do an interview, instead of starting at 1, we should start at 12 if she can do that. That way we have 2 hours and she's still done in time so she can get little man. Because that last Tuesday with Joe could have gone on so much longer. And I know you were building up questions too. So I thought, and it was really starting to kick when we had to stop. So I'm going to see if Gemma, instead of starting on days that we have interviews, to start at noon. That way we have a full 2 hours to really have a conversation. You think that? Yeah, I think it's a good idea too. Or if we have a topic that we think that could go for 2 hours, maybe start a little early that day. So I'm going to bring it up with her. You can start at evening at 9. See, here's the problem, Ron. She has a hard time doing nights because her husband works. He's a mechanic on his own. He's his own thing. So he's gone quite a bit during the day and during the night. So she has nobody to watch the kid. And it's hard for her to stream when the kid's around. So it's like she has to make arrangements for her to do oracles. And he kind of took away Wednesdays because of other things. So she can do it on Fridays. That's why she waits till like 7 o'clock to do oracles. So her streaming on nights during the week is kind of hard unless she can work it out where she has an interview. Then that's a little different. So, yeah. But, yeah, I think if we're going to do interviews and stuff like that, we start at noon. I don't think she'll have a problem with that. That way she's still done on time. Because I honestly felt like there's a couple times I felt like we could have gone longer. But I know that she also tries to get work done in the morning. So on the days that we don't have an interview or 1 to 2 is fine. But on days maybe we have interviews, and especially a subject that might be a hopping one, to start at noon. That way we have a good 2 hours. Maybe if we can arrange it, we could do an evening interview show. Gemma could always kick back and deal with the Ludo while we talk to someone. Yeah. But I think, see, that's the thing. I think I want to see her part because it's her channel. I'd really like to see her be a bigger part of the interviews, and that's why she does the Tuesday shows because it's so much easier because she doesn't have to ask for, hey, can you watch a kid while I do this? Because during the day he's at school and everything. But we can talk to her about it. I mean, I'm sure if it was something good that she can think that she can finagle it out, we might try. We may ask her. I mean, every so often she gets lucky and she can finagle it out so she can do interviews. So it's something we can talk to her about. But right now, I just prefer to leave it for Tuesdays until we can sit and I can actually figure things out with her. But I agree. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. I know when she talks about doing other stuff, she's talking evenings. So maybe in the future she might be able to do stuff because I know she wants to do a girls' night, the women of paranormal, and I told her if you want to do that show, let's do it on the Rumble. That way, you're a little more freer to talk. So, and I'm trying. Just bear with me. I'm trying to get her to do streams over there, but I mean, right now I'm just letting her get back in the groove again. This summer kind of threw her off, and I don't blame her. So, I mean, I actually mean to ask Joe what made her think of that was a skinwalker. I was waiting for you to ask that question, and I kind of sat there. That's why I didn't say nothing. But I also got the impression that she was trying to check us all out. There was a couple times I really felt like I was being, checked over, and I'm pretty good about it. Edna will tell you because she's the same way. We can block people. I can block people. I can't block things, but I can block people. There was a couple of times I felt like I was blocking somebody. So, but yeah, she actually, Ryan, I don't know if you heard, if you've talked to Gemma, she's asked us three to be on her show. So we've been invited to her show too. I just don't know when it's going to happen. So just so you know, that may come up. So you may get your chance. And she said she would come back. So we may have her back on. I like to have her back on where she can have a little more time. She can also go on other channels live and podcasts. She does all the time. She does interviews when she can. I mean, it's about working out time for her, but she does, oh my gosh, Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal, Wayne and Michelle's show. She did Rob's show, Bigfoot Michigan Rob's show. She's done a couple shows and a couple actual podcasts where you have to go back and listen. You have to wait till it's released. Some of those interviews are really good too. So yeah, you just got just look in her thing, and if you can't find them, I'll go out next. There's no stream tomorrow night because Pixie's off tomorrow night, so I'm taking the night off tonight, I should say. But either not Friday during Oracles, but Saturday night when I do Gemma's replay, I'll have those podcasts and I'll drop the links in for you, Ron, and you can go check them out where she did actual podcasts. But yeah, she gets around. I haven't been asked. I was asked to do Paranormal Highway show once. Went on to do the show and I ended up losing internet. And thank God Gemma showed up because she ended up stealing the show anyway. So, but I ended up losing internet, so I never got to do the interview, and he never asked me back. So, but that's all right. This Friday I'll be doing a show with. Oh, you're going to be doing one with Nighthawk? We're talking about El Chupacabra. Yeah, drop the link. Oh, also drop the link at Facebook. There it is. There you go, Ron. In fact, I need to make sure I'm not subscribed to his. I thought it was. No, I am now. Okay. Cool breeze. I'll make sure Gemma sees it too. 27th. Oh, Friday. Oh, you won't be able to see me. That's Oracle night. So, but I will go back and watch the replay because that's Oracle night. Did I subscribe? I thought I was subscribed to his channel. I guess I wasn't. I've seen his stuff. But yeah, that's Oracle night. So you won't see me. Yeah, she wants to do him too. She does want to do Nighthawk. So I would like to. I like him. So yeah, I would love to have him on too. But yeah, that's a Friday night, Oracle night. So I'll have to watch the replay. And I will. Yeah, I subscribe to. I thought I was already subscribed to him too. But see, that's another thing. Please, folks, check your subscriptions. Because they're unsubbing people. So make sure you check and make sure your subscription is still there. And make sure you get your notifications because I don't even get put notifications up for my own streams. I never get them. And now you still alive? Did you give up on us? What time is it? Oh, it's 2:30. Wow, I didn't know it was that late. Well, at least I got a couple good stories in. And one's recent. I'll let you know when I talk to him what happened with him because I want to know what that conversation was in that when I was standing on the other side of that glass. I'm getting sleepy. Good night. Sleep time. So I can go, hey, you want a cup of coffee? Want a cup of coffee? You want a cup of coffee? I'm trying to catch up here. I can't understand how some nice people with good content can get. It's just how the ball rolls. And I'm going to tell you right now, Ron, with the way YouTube is running right now, and there are great paranormal channels. I mean, there's tons of them, and some get views, and some of the better ones don't get no views at all. I mean, it's just how the algorithm runs, and it's kind of screwy. And if you're a new channel, now Gemma's at least almost 4 years now. So actually, yeah, about 4 years now, because she originally started the channel trying to, talking about addiction and stuff. And then she switched over to, unsolved murders and case files and stuff like that. And she kind of worked her way into it. That was I going to put you to sleep. If I sit here and rock the way I really want to sit here and rock, I probably would put you to sleep. It's funny when my daughters had their babies and they got fussy, you know what they did? They would bring their babies to me and put the baby in arm because I shake and I'm like, I hate to say it, but I sound like I'm like a walking vibrator sometimes. So I'm shaking all the time or just barely, trembling. That they put the babies. I mean, I could put a kid to sleep in like no time flat. So it was like every time I turn around here, hold this kid for me. She won't shut up. I don't know what I do. You're a walking what? You heard me. Oh, I do. I mean, I don't know who's worse sometimes. My dad, he gets to shaking so bad. You can see his shake. There are times you can't see me shake, but if you touch me, you can feel. Yeah. And I don't need batteries either. That was a weird look. I ain't doing that again. That was bad. Sorry, folks. That was bad. There's no joke to be made here, but I shall refrain. I got to behave because Edna come over and smack us in the back of the head. Tell us to be gentlemen. Did it. No, funny. I'm glad everybody had a wonderful night. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I am getting ready to shut it down. I went a little longer than I should have because I try to keep Tuesday, these nights for about 2, but we were having a good time. I had a couple good stories, well, actually encounters on both of these, too. When he gets back from Japan and he's ready to go do this, I will keep you guys informed. Same thing if me and Dad goes down to Chillicothe, I will keep you informed and we'll go down and I'll record it. If I can't go live, I'll make sure I record everything. Same thing with the guy at the top of the street in the smoke shop. Because I need to know what was said. I mean, the more I sat here today and the last couple of days, I just want to know. It was weird. I mean, it was the interaction. To watch an interaction and not see or hear the conversation, because I wasn't really paying attention until I opened the door to realize that he was all stiff back. And that thing left. I mean, as soon as I opened that door, it got quiet and he left. And to see that, and then for him to stand there and look me in the face, go, that was a gin. I think it was for me. I just came home. Home. And I'm like, what? And this guess we know what all the buzz is about. I'm taking your Cheetos, your M&Ms, peanut M&Ms. I'm taking all your Reese's. I'm going to come in and steal all your coffee, Ryan. Any cake that you have laying around, because you always seem to have cake too. That's all mine now for making fun of me. Just watch going to sleep tonight. I've already gave the dog the dog bone. I already gave your dog the bones to help him sleep. So I'll fight for someone over coffee. Yeah, let's see. Not if you know I was there and gone with it. Post some cool videos, doesn't it? Yeah, Ron, how long have you been interested in this stuff? You kind of come off as a newbie. I'm not trying to be insulting, but are you really just now getting into all this? Did you have an encounter? I have to ask because I think I've heard you say that you're kind of new to all this. Did you have an encounter? Did you have a Bigfoot encounter, a cryptid encounter that really perked your interest? What really got you into this? And so curious. Before we call it a night. Almost 5 years now. You've been curious about it for 5 years now. Is that what you're saying? It's hard on chat, I know. Because I've seen your channel. I've checked out your channel. Live in some beautiful country, dude. The kind of land I like. People want to live by the sea. Here's the problem I have with the sea. Hurricanes, like what's coming in that south now. When you live by the ocean, you have a bigger risk than living in the mountains. And I'd rather live in the mountains than by the ocean. But I have no problem by visiting the ocean or even staying there for a while. I'd rather live in the interior of the, but I'm going to tell you right now, pardon me and excuse me, when stuff goes down and things start to happen, you know, everybody's going to either run south or run to the center of America. Problem is, of all the visions I have about what's going to happen, I see America literally splitting at the Mississippi. I literally see our country being torn apart. I see, you know, a lot of people believe that California wasn't attached to this country at one time, that actually it became attached back to the continent during the flood and when everything shifted during the Great Flood. So I see actually California kind of breaking away again. I see the Mississippi literally splitting. I see us losing a couple states along that Mississippi River. I see the Great Lake, two of the Great Lakes becoming one big feed point Salt, yeah. Well, there's some places in California. There's a house. The guy bought this house that's literally about ready to fall into the ocean. And he's going to stay. He bought it. He got a good price on it. He said, I'm staying until I know it's almost ready to fall in. But it's crazy. Yeah, I was intrigued by great grandfather's mysterious disappearance, which is a great story, dude. I really would like to see you write that story down and send it to Gemma so she could really tell that story for you because it's such an interesting story. And if you have details and stuff you have it relate to us, it's a good way to do it. Or we could have you on and you could tell the story. I would love to do that too one time. Yeah, I definitely see California falling in, and I think the splitting of this country will happen when Yellowstone goes. But I don't think when Yellowstone goes the first time, it's not going to be. It's going to be big because it will be massive. But when it goes the first time, it's going to be enough to split this country and put us into a kind of an ice age, and it's going to kill a lot of people. But then another one's going to, and then it's going to really go off, and oh heck, it's going to break loose. But see, those are the visions I've had. They're incomplete. I only telling you what I'm seeing. Yes, Yellowstone would wipe most of us out only because of the whole area would be gone. But if it blew like Mount St. Helens did, the devastation would be incredible. Because it is a super volcano. I do have a personal encounter at Fort Campbell, but I don't generally talk about that because of where it happened, and that's understandable. But you can change things around. If you ever get the need to tell it and you want to send it to Gem, just change some stuff around. Or, but I do understand. I think Blue's same way. Barry's the same way. He has stories too from he's been out running, and he can't talk about them. So because of where he was at and what he was doing at the time, so he just can't. When we were sitting at the bar, or we're sitting at a table at the bar for my birthday, he was telling me and his sister Betsy about he was in Japan, and before he came home, he left Japan and he stopped in the Philippines for about 2 weeks before he came home. And he said that he had the creepiest time there, that he said this crazy old man seemed to follow him the whole time he was there. He said, I don't know what he wanted. I kept asking him because he speaks a bunch of languages. And the old man would never answer. But every time he turned around, he said this old man was behind him. He said it was creeping out. He was so happy. He said he even was at the airport when he left. Where I live, it's more closer to Canada. Yeah, that's what you were saying. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, he said it was pretty creepy. He said it didn't feel paranormal, but he said it was creeping him out. But he said he travels so much that he meets people all the time, and he'll go back and they actually remember him and stuff. Which Barry's, once you meet Barry, he's a hard guy to kind of not forget. They're both real kind of, him and his twin sister. They're probably about 6 foot. Um, both brunettes. She's a cute. I mean, they look alike. They're both good-looking people, and they look alike. They act alike. I swear they the whole night and ever since I've known them, they finish each other's sentences. I wouldn't be surprised if one cut himself. If he cut himself, she wouldn't say "ouch." That's the kind of way they are. It's all right, but yeah, um, they're both very interesting people. She's traveled quite a bit. She said that she retired, but what she does, she never retires from. So, and he's very active. He's 60. They're both 60. Both great looking for their age, very youthful looking. He's that guy that got like me, where his hair's dark enough you could really see. He knew me when my hair turned white, and he used to call me Frosty. It cracked me up. I left the military shortly after that. They never believed me. Yeah, you're going to have that. My parents, for the longest, hey, war criminal, how you doing? Hope you're good. My parents, my dad literally picked me up from school the day I saw the Hat Man. And it was obvious that I was freaking out, but he didn't believe me. He said, "Oh, Steve, you rock in your sleep. You don't sleep." I said, "You're going to go home. You're going to go sleep." How you doing, Moore? How you hanging? Good to see you. Frosty goes, yeah, he used to call me Frosty all the time. He was calling me that Saturday night too. But yeah, he's a character. Smart as a whip. Both of them are smart as a whip. Parents were both teachers. But yeah, he's a character. She's a bigger character than him. They both have like really big positive attitudes. They're the type of people that walk into a room and they're there. It was nice because I hadn't seen either one of them. I've talked to them on the phones, but I hadn't seen either one of them physically for almost. Him I hadn't seen for at least 2 or 3 years. Her I saw about a year ago. She was here visiting a friend, and I met her for coffee one morning and talked to her. But yeah, it was so good to see him. And they knew I was dying to go out. I hadn't been out for a while, so it was like, yeah, I got kind of tipsy that night. I'm glad I didn't stream because I would have come in here all tipsy. They had me lit pretty good. Heck, we stood out in the driveway and woke up the neighbors talking. So, Giles even came out. Hey, you guys are being kind of loud. I hunt for Fort Campbell and the LBL. Yeah, they sit on a massive earthquake. Actually, 2 of them. You got the San Andreas fault, and then you have the connecting fault that goes to that. So yes, you have a very massive fault line all along that state. That's like GEMMA'S still freaking out because that earthquake they had in Jersey really freaked her son out. And from what I heard, it shook the place, and that's pretty rare. It happens. Earthquake happens all along the East Coast and the West Coast all the time. It's just a lot of times you just never feel them. Or you really don't stop to feel them. In Area 33. Now you guys are talking about a place I've never been to. They say it's folding on top of itself. Yes. Actually, the Yellowstone is pretty much locked and ready to go. The whole fault, the San Andreas fault and the fault line all the way up is locked and ready to go. It's just when it's going to happen. LBL, Amish family encounter is still up for debate. Don't know who's telling the truth. You're going to have that. Speaking of Amish people, I'm ready to go up to Der Dutchman here in Ohio. You go in there, it's like a family setting restaurant. You sit at a big round table. I can see just me, Dad, and Giles sitting at a table that's loaded with food. You pay one price and they keep filling it up and bringing it out to you. Some of the best fried chicken. Man, now you're talking to people that know that story. I don't know all that. So I don't think I can really comment on any of that stuff. But Ryan's hiding out here somewhere. He's going to jump in, and he did. Overhyped. I know some of the guys who camped there. They didn't see anything. Oh, yeah, because I think Moggs was there too. Said it was a neat experience, but not much happened for them. Now I know what you guys are talking about. Interesting how so much hype about LBL started from one short passage by Jan Thompson. Few believe until it happens to them, and it's usually the case. There was a skinwalker and Bigfoot encounter around that wall near the old storage buildings. Ron, what area? You issues are very specific. Yeah, I was waiting for you. You say that. I just wish you would call them skinwalkers. But because I can't say the damn word. And you do it just to aggravate me. I know you do. I know you prefer to call them by what they're really called. Not I have to pick on you. You pick on me. Yeah, I was really expecting you to kind of drill Joe about that. I was waiting for I was like, wait a minute. But when you asked if they were Native American, I think that kind of threw her for a loop. Before yes, but where? I need more specifics. They don't tell anyone because they think they're crazy. And you know, though, and I'm noticing now that because I honestly feel now that the veil has lifted, not all the way, but it's open quite a bit. You know, I always say people don't like to say the veil is thinning, but it was thinning before it opened. So people were starting to see kind of through the veil. Where now that it's starting to open and more is coming out, you're going to hear people that never opened up about these stories about even encounters in their past are going to start talking. I'm noticing more and more people are owning up to, hey, I did have an experience once. They may not still believe it, but at least they're talking about it. Call them by the colonizer's name, right? So you don't draw them to you. There you go. I already have. Wait, hopefully Joe wasn't offended. I don't think she was. I just think you threw her kind of for a loop when you asked if it was if there was somebody was Native America that was there, Native American, which was a perfect legit question considering your background. Now I think you kind of threw her for a loop, but I don't think she was like offended or anything because she asked for us to all come to her show, so she must have enjoyed being with us. But yeah, there was a couple times I felt like I was putting my guard up because sometimes I do it instinctively. Sometimes I do it to Edna, and she'll tell you I do it to her because I know when she's trying to. She still does. She's like trying to do it now. But I got the killer crickets ready on standby. I don't have the plague today, so I can't do the internet plague to it. So I'm sure there's a high strangeness there, but there's so little evidence really mocked it up. The LB stories. Oh, really? I did that too. I was blocking the whole time. You know, I had a feeling you were too, and I think there was a couple other people in chat, but it was pretty obvious that us three, because Gemma sometimes is an open book. You don't even have to really. She's there. I mean, she still closes us off, but you can get an essence from her. I have a hard time with you, but over the years, I know how to kind of get through that. I think you're learning that with me too. But there are people that I definitely will not let in. And if I don't know you, it felt, I mean, there was a couple times when I was talking and I could feel her eyes on me that I was blocking. And like I said, that's like when I'm doing it just out of instinct, that means somebody was trying to figure me out, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that, but not so close. I couldn't pick up on really anything from her at all. No, I did. And she's true to her words. So I will say that. I couldn't pick up much, but she openly admits to being a practicing witch, and that's fine because she didn't mind using that word. So yeah, I didn't want to get too nosy, as one might say. But once I get, maybe we do her show or she comes back on ours, yeah, I might try to pry a little bit more. But I don't like doing that. I like to make it more natural. But she piqued my interest with some of the things she was saying. So allegedly a survivor of the LBA attack, but his story comes out with no evidence. Outstanding claims require outstanding evidence. Yes, especially if you can produce them. Especially in these times when you have access to all that technology. Now, a lot of my stories I tell, a lot of things, a lot of the craziness that's gone on in my life happened really before, other than cameras. And a lot of times when I went with people, I didn't carry the camera. I seemed to be a lot of the time the target in those little ghost hunting days. They would use me as the bait because I always seemed to track stuff majority of the time. But I know people that still have stuff from those investigations. Problem is, I don't know how to get a hold of them because I know the guy that had the real footage, he should have his. Barry said that none of his film turned out. I know my camera pictures of that night didn't turn out. I've taken pictures. I try to take pictures of the kid and the black-eyed kid I see all the time in hospitals. And when I think I get a good picture, he's not there. I have one picture that I'm going to show where it's just a blur. Where he was at, it's just a blur. But every time I try to take a picture, either he's gone or somebody stands in front of him. It's weird. And I'm still trying. So hopefully next time I go back to the hospital, I see him again. But he kind of peeved me off that day. I chased him around that hospital just so I couldn't get even a picture of him. It was driving me. It made me so angry. And I spent all that time chasing him, and I still didn't get no answers. Why I see this thing? And like I said, lately, in that when I first started seeing him, every so often I'd see with a little girl or a little boy. I haven't seen them almost 2 years now. So a lot of times he's been by himself. I don't think I'll ever see the white-eyed girl again. She made that perfectly clear to me that I would never see her again, that I wasn't supposed to see her in the first place. I'm gabbing and I'm not reading the chat. It's similar to the Gable film. It was admitted to be a hoax. People still claim that it's a dog man evidence. A lot of people believe without checking it. Yeah, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that kind of blindly believe stuff because they want to believe that bad. Or this person says they have. Unfortunately, it's sad, but it's true. And by the way, Edna, the bruises are from me working. So don't fret. If you see them and you kind of wondering where those came from, it's nothing bad. Those were false while I was working. What's a Gable film? Oh, there you go, Ryan. Tell him. Well, I catch up on chat down there sometime with an open mind. So that's a big thing. It's keeping an open mind. But if you're going to keep an open mind, you still got to be a little skeptic. You can't be afraid to question things. And especially with photographic video evidence now, I mean, it's pretty obvious you can still tell what's AI, but there is some AI and CGI that is still pretty convincing. So you really got to pay attention, look for the markers. But yes, You can keep an open mind and still be questionable to what you're seeing, which is always good. You should always question everything. The Gable film is a film that allegedly showed a werewolf dogman attack, but the men who made it showed the late Linda Godfrey how they hosted, which, yeah, I think I know a little bit about that. These two subjects, the LB, I don't know a whole lot about other than what I've heard from you folks and listening to Moggs and those guys. So use your logic first. Yes, you can always keep in mind, but stay logical. And you can overanalyze stuff too. And I see people that overanalyze stuff and say something to fake by the overanalyzing it turned out to be real. So you gotta be open-minded. You gotta use some logic. You gotta question, and you gotta do it with a good sense of, with a good mindset. Because I tell encounters all the time, I have no proof because a lot of this stuff I don't have I don't have the stuff too, or friends I don't know where they're at. So it's like I tell these stories. You either believe them or not. That's fine. This is stuff that's gone on in my life. It's like the things I see. There are some people who've known me all my life, has seen me freak out, looking at somebody and getting antsy and getting kind of, concerned. And then when I tell them what I'm seeing, they still don't believe me, but it's pretty obvious that I'm watching something, but I can't yell at them because they don't see what I see. So I can't get mad at them. So they have a right to question that. I actually had one friend stop being my friend because I hung around him with a lot during Bonanza, and he hated doing busting tables with me because I would pick on him by telling him that person right there's got somebody or something with them. The lady that just came through the line, look at there, see that person's got somebody following them. It would drive him nuts. Until one time I did that when we were busting a table, and he looked at me and goes, Steve, Steve, Steve. And we looked down, and the glass on the other side of the table started sliding across the table. And he goes, I'm done. And he quit because I don't want to be around you anymore. And he left. That was kind of funny because it was weird. I even picked up the glass to see if, he left the bus tub and everything. He just left. He went and said, Mike, I'm done. I quit. I'm out. And left. And the only time I saw him was in school. But it was pretty trippy because he's sitting busting that table. And when I just said that lady had something following him. And he looked at me and goes, Steve, look. And there was no water, no condensation. That glass literally just slid across the table. And we both stood there and watched it. I think the people sitting in the booth beside it watched it too. Because they didn't say nothing. They were talking and they went quiet. Pardon me. Ron seems to have a good head on it. Yeah, he does. And that's good. I'm glad you started showing up in chat, Ron. I enjoy our conversations. Stories are okay, but a lot of people misidentify things. Yeah, I try to be a little more careful. And see, I don't think I've ever been in a position where I'd say, oh, I saw a skinwalker or Wendigo. Well, one, because I know that seeing a skinwalker around here is probably pretty rare unless somebody brought one with them. And a Wendigo, yeah, you can see them around here. That's all like you said, a Wendigo is pretty much a possession. But I don't think I've been in any of those situations where I could say I honestly saw a Wendigo. I believe this person saw a skinwalker. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't touch those subjects too much. I do believe in paranormal cryptic and other weird stuff, but not every story or video is legit. Yeah. And that's the attitude to have, Ron. You got a good head on your shoulders. I've seen some stuff and told some stories that are coming up that I've told people, and they're like, dude, Get off the drugs. And I was like, dude, this is legit. Now, see, with me, I've seen UFOs. I've seen my share of Tic Tacs, orbs. Pretty sure I've seen a triangle too, not too long ago. I do have a moment in my life when I was in Colorado. I have missing time, probably about 5 hours, but I can't explain it. But personally, I don't ever. I've never seen an actual UFO close. I've never seen an alien. I never felt like I've been abducted. Though there was a lady that I had saw on a show that I talked to on a show that on a YouTube channel, and I asked her a question, and then she made the comment to the lady she was with. Some people who have been adopted, and they will never remember it. And I'm like, it's pretty funny. She said that after she talked to me. So, well, I just seen you mention the Fort Campbell. Yeah, a lot of bases are built on it. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. There's a problem though, aren't from skinwalkers on. I'm not going to say it right. Though I give you credit for using it. I couldn't even spell it without having to look at your spell. Aren't from all tribes. They are Navajo. Dying. Is that how you say it? Dying. Other tribes have things that are similar, but they are skinwalkers. I've seen one. It looked like a pyramid. It just don't know who made it. Where'd you see the pyramid at? And they believe there's a Dai, Dai. I'll forget it. Give up. Um, they're in the Great Lakes. They believe there's just a couple pyramid in all three of those lakes. Oh, my UFO. Yeah, I had a guy, actually a trucker, tell me that he saw a UFO that basically was a flying pyramid. And I said, because so when I saw that footage, I shouldn't, he just told me, and this was years ago. So when I saw that footage that was on YouTube and making the rounds for a while, where there's that pyramid floating above in Washington above the Capitol, that immediately, his stories immediately came to my mind. That would be an interesting thing to see. Now, we're pretty sure I've seen a saucer too, and that was down in Chillicothe coming home one day with Dad. And I wish he would have saw it too. Now, he sat with me on 4th of July on the front porch, and we have Don Scott Airport to the west of us, northwest of us. It's not that far away. OSU college uses it for flying and stuff, training. And there's planes and stuff, private jets coming and going all the time. Well, on 4th of July, we're sitting on the porch, just gabbing, me and him drinking our coffee. And a little propeller plane comes in, and Dad goes, look. And you can see this white dot coming right at it. And we're sitting there, I go, Dad, is it going to hit that plane? He goes, I don't think it's going to hit that plane. Man, right when it got to that plane, it did a 90-degree angle, and it plunked. And my dad's mouth went plunk. But see, I know he's seen stuff in the service. He's dropped in a couple times, especially when he was stationed in Japan. I know he's seen stuff, and that's why he believes in UFOs like he does. Stay here where it's just people's opinions. That's all it is. Yeah, you all have a great night. Gotta leave the experts too. I'm no expert. I don't ever claim to be an expert. I just go by what I see over the years. I'm no expert. Now, good old Ryan knows his stuff. Yeah, and you've actually been to those places too. So I give you credit. But I'm now when it comes to history and stuff, I might argue, but I don't ever consider myself I believe in a paranormal and UFOs. You can have a lot of knowledge, but I don't think there's really an expert because an expert is a person that knows and can identify everything and prove to me without a doubt that these things exist. Well, we know they exist, but you know what I'm saying. So I don't like using the word expert in this kind of field. Now you may be an expert on how to, set up cameras and an expert on how to go looking, but when it comes to the actual cryptids or whatever, to me, being an expert is mean that you know what you know is true, and you can prove it to be true. That to me is an expert. Other than that, you're just a person with a lot of knowledge on that subject, and that's the way I see it. But that's my opinion, and it's good to get everybody's opinion. That's why I like doing this stream. That's why I like being with Gemma. That's why I roam around and look at so many channels, because I think it's important to listen to everybody else. But there's a lot of channels that are very one-sided and believe one thing, and they don't like people messing with that. But I like listening to their side too. But people need to be more open. They need to be more conversive to make this a more sound environment. In order for us to make discoveries, we all have to work together. There has to be something to it. Oh, yeah, I believe there's something to everything. I believe in the unbelievable. I've seen enough of the unbelievable to believe in it. I honestly believe that there are things that we are just not meant to understand. And now, no matter how hard we try to make sense of it, until whoever decides that we should understand, we're not going to understand. And it's like a lot of people think theories is a fact. A theory is a theory. It's just an idea, a synopsis of what somebody believes. Are there shapeshifters from other cultures? Yeah, I believe there are absolutely shapeshifters in other cultures. There's all kinds of shapeshifters. I think you'll find that most cultures have kind of the same thing, just called different things, different versions. And then you have cultures like the Asian culture, where some of their stuff is so weird, so far out that you kind of like, this can't be real. But I've seen my stuff in Japan too. When I stood on the side of Mount Fuji with the forest and they don't go in and don't come out of, I stood there in front of that place. I went in. You can feel it. I don't think I could survive a night in there without going nuts, because the air is just. I know people who actually camp there. There's videos of people who actually camp the night in that place. I couldn't do it. There's just no way. A person like Gemma probably shouldn't do that. Or some of you people in this chat. Tricksters is what the Cherokee called them. Not even close. Yeah, I think so. This is why I don't like using the word expert. I mean, I can see why people use it. Like, I can see somebody saying, okay, I've studied this field long enough to say that I'm an expert of this particular thing. I guess I should change my view on that. Now that I sit here and think about it, I'm not. I'm a person that has gathered a lot of knowledge, experienced a lot of stuff. That's all I am. Plus, I have a lot of stuff that runs around up here. Sometimes I don't even know where it comes from. And then I've said stuff that I didn't even know I knew, and then find out that I knew it. And not only did I say it and came out of my mouth that was right, and I'm like, holy crap, how did I know that? Okay, what time is it, folks? I'm starting to get slapped. It's 3:00. Holy crap, guys, you're keeping me up way past my bedtime. my pacing time, I should say. I wish I could use my vocabulary again. At one time, I was actually a very good speaker until this crap got nuts on me. I know I don't sound bad. A lot of you guys say, Steve, you don't sound that bad. You sound pretty good. I appreciate the kindness. The night goers. Pretty sure the tricksters would fall into that category. Oh, yes, they would. I'll tell you what, guys. I'm going to finish the cigarette I started with. Let you guys have your conversation. I'm going to sit back and relax and just kind of get in and out of the conversation before I call it a night. How's that sound? That way you guys can finish up your conversation. Because you guys are having a good conversation. I like that. I still have 8 people in here, folks. Thank you. It's 3 o'clock at night. What are you doing still up? Go to bed. But then again, I don't know where some of you are at in the time zone. So it may be daytime for you. Thank you for ghosting. For those who have been watching, thank you. Please, if you got a couple bucks, please. Please donate. Helps the channel. And it helps Gemma. And everything's in a link. Yeah, her books are excellent. See, check out her books. I'm having deja vu. Big time. Just so folks know, I am having deja vu bigger than crap right now. But it's on the travel list. I'm going to urge those cigarettes to taste like crap. Yeah, and the thing is, and this was one I lit probably about 15 minutes before the stream. So I'm making them last. Curse. Hey, like I said, it's been at night. A couple, probably a little. I've been averaging 1 to 2 after dinner. Then once I settle in for the night, I usually have a couple because I don't sleep. So instead, I don't want to be eating and nitpicking all night. So I allow myself a couple of cigarettes through the night. But once the morning comes, I have one with a cup of coffee, and that's it until evening again. The goal is to start the pills up once the doctor gives me the okay. Make sure I didn't have a reaction because I don't want to take them. Man, I took the first one. Man, I was puking. I mean, it wasn't like I was sick. It just tore me up. But see, that's why I can't do the patches because I have sensitive skin and my arms. And then I can't chew the gum either because it doesn't work for me. I'm not that tight. I don't chew gum. So I really hope these work. If not, if they don't work and he says that you can't take them, I will go cold turkey. I'm just trying not to nitpick during the night because that's probably the most when I smoke anyways is during the night because I'm pacing and I can only do so much cleaning without waking everybody up. But a lot of times it's the only time I get anything done. And it's the best time for me because I'm already spazzing anyways. And it's Breaking Bad, huh? Oh, let me think. Do I care? No. Stop smoking. I know you don't care. You don't get enough oxygen. I haven't gotten oxygen since I was born. Yeah, hopefully when Ryan gets done and he gets his book done, we'll have some good reading from Ryan too. Because I'm ready for that book. I always like new books. My son gave me some good stuff to read, some good MAGA to read. So I got two books here I got to read. I'll plow through them in one night. I just been holding off because when I start a book, I finish it. I mean, usually I don't sit and read a chapter and stop. Once I start it, I finish it. Yeah, a lot of that Edna too wasn't just because of the smokes. I was sick. Those 2 weeks, I don't know what happened, but I know a lot of it had to what said well. Ever since I came back from Paraunity, I'd been fighting that viral chest infection. It'd go away, then come back, go away. But the heat stroke, the heat sickness that I got at the beginning of those 2 weeks, I think what set it off, because I was miserable for 2 weeks, hon. I was hurting. I couldn't breathe. But see, my tremors do that too, Edna. Sometimes if my tremor's really bad, it affects my breathing, it affects my talking, it affects even my hearing and my seeing. Sometimes it gets real bad. I get double vision. Yeah, I know, hon. I appreciate your concern. I really do. And my goal is to quit. I've made some promises to other people too, and I want to hold up to those promises. And I think believe me, there have been times, man, I've pounded in death. And like Friday night, it's kind of hard to, because she does all the talking. I'm just sitting there, and I didn't want to sit there and because, but I may have to. I mean, these have been my lifesavers have been my lifesavers, other until nighttime. Don't start with it. See, and I don't smoke. The people, the herb, or the people that was here before us, the people of the people of the people, like I used to. It's purely municipal now. I only do that stuff when I am so bad, or if I haven't slept for a couple of days, where I'm in pain. That's the only time, and it's not that much. I always keep a little bit around. Do it in my face. I'm gonna smack you. Okay, Mom. Okay, Aunt Edna. I love you too, hon. I do. You know, actually, that one there, like I said, I had one after dinner, and I didn't have any until just before the stream, and I'm finishing that one now. So I think I'm doing good. And that stress is, I'm not really stressed. People say you smoke because you're stressed. I smoke because I'm always in motion. And if I'm not smoking, I'm nitpicking and I'm losing weight, and I'm going to keep losing. Mm. I know you do, hon. I know you do. The Patterson film. Ooh, I believe it's legit. A lot of people say it's fake, but I think it's legit. It's funny that all these years I never realized it had breasts. So I never caught it until everybody started pointing it out. But I do think that's legit. But that's my opinion. That's like watching the top tens. Probably about, if you have a top 10 and they're all good, scary videos, decent videos, I would say probably out of the top 10, maybe four of them are legit. Yeah, it's a female. And I'm like, I've seen that footage like 1,000 times. And it never dawned on to me until I started getting involved here and talking to people online. I'm like, and then started really looking at them like, it does. I kind of felt like a fool, like I was left out. But one of the reasons I don't talk a lot about Bigfoot is because I can literally lead you 20 billion other channels that talk about him and Dogman. So I always leave it for those guys, because I can only tell you experiences of other people. And I've probably only had, maybe in my lifetime, two Bigfoot encounters. and I can't even prove that they were Bigfoot encounters. So, well, here in Ohio they call them grass man, because where I was at, that's what they were called when both of them happened. Yeah, I think it looks legit. I've seen all the documentaries. I know people that have personally seen the film and talked to them, and everybody that I've talked to seems to think that it's legit. Though there are a lot of people think it's fake. So to each his own, which is good. You get a good view of everybody's thoughts, and that's a good way to get an idea. There's a theory that there was a massacre at Bluff Creek. People say Patterson and Gimlin killed a family of them, but I don't die. I never heard that. I went to look into that. I did not know that. I did not know that. I like how Ryan answers that. He is good. Yeah, he's very good at research. His research is he's definitely delved into the things that he's like. The research I do that I've done for Telegraph, which is going to go bye-bye here real soon. So I'm glad I retired when I did. But I did a lot of research for Telegram, people that were, did stuff on Telegram. And I did do some stuff for people here on YouTube. I don't say their names because it's part of the contract I signed. They don't say who I am either or where they got the information from. In fact, there's a guy on YouTube that actually does show a lot of my stuff that I've done for other people. And he has no idea that he's showing my stuff other than the people. And they even really can't say anything about if I did or not, because part of the agreements we have. Because there for a while I was making some good bank. But I researched everything from what I call forbidden history or forgotten history. It's my big thing. Kind of the ancient alien theories and all that stuff. Because we were way more advanced before the flood than people realized. Anyways, and I did a lot of research for the more scary human topics like trafficking and stuff. That's why one of my computers got fried because I got a little too nosy and didn't clean my computer off, and you put all the stuff that I was going to send on a USB port, and they literally fried and baked my computer. They glued a gorilla suit on Mr. Lee. It's too real. I believe in, yeah, and I think it's good to debunk because I've debunked stuff too in the past. So, and I think that's good. Just your opinion on remote viewing. People who talk with paracryptic telepath. Now, here's my thing on my view on that. Ryan might have a whole different view because Gemma says she's actually connected with a Bigfoot. I'm not saying it's not possible. Now, remote viewing is, I think it's very real because I know I've done it without even trying. I've seen things, but I can't prove it, and so I don't push it. But yeah, or Toplas. I think Toplas is a big thing right now. It's like some of the creepypastas people have. But see, like with creepypastas like the Slender Man and the Rake, which the Rake to me, I have to agree with, is more like a pale crawler. These were things that really did exist in myths and legends, like the Slender Man. He's not something they made up. Somebody heard the story and just grew on it. But I think because it became so popular, that thus a Topla was created even more. Another Topla was complete. I'm getting tired. I'm getting to the point where I'm probably better off just keeping my mouth shut. I know I'm getting tired, getting kind of rambly. I have a funny feeling tomorrow's going to be a rough day. It depends on the energy you put forth. If people are afraid of them, yeah, they'll be scary. If they're not afraid of them, they won't. You guys have a pretty good conversation. Isn't it late for you, Ryan? Yeah, I'm loving the conversation though. Actually, I might as well just let Ryan come on. But most of the stuff that I deal with is more the spooky ghosts and things that we see. It's only 12:25 for you. For me, it is 3:25. Usually on Tuesday nights, now on Wednesday nights or Thursday morning, I try not to push by 2 because I have to get up in the morning. But you guys are having such a great conversation, and I do hate to end it. Your granddaughter's birthday is this weekend. I'll text you before and I'll call you, Ghost. Yeah, just text me. Yeah, because I have a conversation. Patty was actually pretty much stuck to the same thing she said last time. And when I explained the rest of it to her, we had a good conversation. So, yes, right now there is a lot of negative energy out there. Oh, I'll agree with that. This world right now is not, is kind of helped that curtain rise a little higher because of the negativity. Because I can guarantee you that all of the stuff on the other side of that curtain is not good. In fact, I don't think any of it's good. You know, it's like my view on aliens. Well, most people know how I feel about aliens. You know, I don't think there's aliens. I think they're interdimensional beings and they're part of the fallen angels, part of the watchers. But that's my view. But besides that, I agree with a lot of you guys. And I think that as negative as this world is right now, it's just allowing more and more of the bad come through. It's not just cryptid encounters. You know, the supernatural world is really kicked up the notch too, big time. Um, but people forget, if you believe in God, God is a supernatural being. This is a supernatural world. Yes, it's a world solid and everything, but it is a supernatural world that can, and a lot of amazing thing happens every day that we didn't even see. Yes, totally. Yes, and it's on, and until they see that, Ryan, what love is in this world right now is not enough to outweigh the evil that's being released because of the anger and the division. Oh, I totally agree with you, dude. It's not just about the earth, and I totally get what you're saying, but the earth goes through cycles too, just like the sun, the earth, and the sun, and the heavens and the stars. It all goes through a cycle, seasons. You might as well just call them seasons, and it's ever changing. And when things change, you know, things change. But yes, we didn't help some things as a human race. We did not help certain changes take place. We helped bad changes take place on the physical plane of the earth. If you understand what I'm saying. Okay, what time we got here, folks? 3:30. I think I'm going to call it. So finish up your conversations. I'm pooped. I'm getting rambly. And I don't like talking when I don't feel like I'm thinking things through. And I'm about ready to get out of this chair and go run around the house about 50 times. My answer is lived in centuries upon centuries. in harmony. Yes, and I have ancestors like that too. The only way to take away the power of terror is to stand up to it. I've always said that. I don't fear anything. I don't even fear death. In fact, I welcome it. But yes, there are things in this world that scare me. Yes, there are things that I have seen that definitely impacted my life. But yeah, um, so I agree. You know, you got to face it, and that goes just not for terror. It goes for anything that troubles your life. Walking away from it, putting it off, doesn't solve it. You got to stand up to it. Thank you, Edna. Folks, I want to thank you all for joining me. All those who sat in the background, I hope you had a snack and a beverage and enjoyed yourself with this craziness that I call spooky times, or any of my chats, any of my streams. Uh, please have a wonderful night, or rest of a night, and morning in most cases. Have a wonderful Thursday. Once again, no stream Thursday night. Pixie's off, so we get a break. You get a break from us. Tomorrow, Friday night, which is tomorrow actually. Gemma and Oracles at 7:15. Come early because she's been starting around 7:15. She tries to start a little early if she can. Please try to get your names on by at least 9:30. That's all we ask. I mean, it's her call after that, but I personally stop writing names down at 9:30. And I leave it up to her if she wants to take any more. Saturday night, I will be here for Gemma's replays. Hopefully I don't have the issues. And I have gone through some of her videos, and some of the sound quality is not very good. So I'm going to have to be a little bit more picky and kind of really look at the videos I want to play for that night before I play them, because some of the older ones did not have great sound quality. So Gemma's replays Saturday night. Monday at 11, I believe she'll have a video. We're here for Tuesday Talk at 1 o'clock. Me, her, and Ryan. It's just us this time. It seems like everybody's got something they want to talk about, so that will be a good day. I'll be back Wednesday night for whatever we want to call this. I just decided to change the name to Spooky Time because I've been trying, and now that we're getting into the October feel of things, I'll try to ramp my stories up a little more notch. You got to remember, a lot of these I write down, and then I don't want to write down too much because I try to make it fresh. I'm not a very good storyteller, so bear with me. And just know, folks, if I'm not here, if I don't stream, it's usually either because of something going on here at the family, or I'm having a hard time, because I miss you guys. So just know that if I miss streaming, you know it's something important. And I always try to warn you guys, but I should be here. So I will see all you folks Friday night for Oracles, those who decide to join us. And if you don't want a card, please come in and hang out in the chat. The chat is wonderful, good folks. And half of them are right here, right now. Have a wonderful night. Be safe tomorrow. Have a good Thursday. And I'll see you folks Friday. Thank you, Edna. And I will beef them up. And I'm hoping that this one buddy of mine sends his story in, because I really like to do that one myself and let him give that to Gemma. Because he wanted Gemma to read it. And I'm like, I want to do it. I want to do it. Hi, Nightmare. So you folks in chat, Nightmare, Edna, Ryan, thanks for stopping in, bud. You're always a pleasure to have around. Edna, you too. Nightmare. Ron, thanks for joining us. I love having you in chat now. You always have great questions. Anybody else that's been listening? Latro, if you're out there, have a good one. Thank you again for the tip. I hope, Blue, you're sleeping good. Folks, have a wonderful one. And please have a great Thursday. And I shall see you on the flip side. Much love to you all. And I'm going to do this before I call it. I don't want to be jerky at the end of my stream. There we go. Have a lot of love, folks. I'll see you on the flip side. Again, I don't like being jerky like that. Because that's bad enough. That's how I feel half the time. And I'll see you guys Friday. Much love.